A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm glad that you're tuned in and you're watching Africa TV. I really want to welcome each and everyone. If you're joining me for the first time, this is Africa TV. This is an open political talk show that comes on your screen every day. That is from 10 p.m. up to past midnight. Of course, I'm your host, Leo Nyabaya. And we are live. We are live in YouTube channel. We are live in Tembei TV. We are live in Africa TV. And we are also live in Leo TV, both Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining me for the first time and you've not subscribed to Africa TV, kindly go to YouTube and look for Africa TV, search for Africa TV, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that wherever we go live, we'll always ensure that you get notified. Of course, you can also use the comment section and let me know where you are tuned in or where you are joining me from. I can see so many people, about 50 are already watching. So let me know where you are tuned in from on the comment section. I can see Daniel Berry Sports Highlight. Good afternoon. Welcome to Flick 24 Hour TV. Good year. I can see you over there. And of course, I can see Norman Nganga. Karibuni sana, karibuni sana, karibuni sana. I know a lot have happened in this country. And as I told you yesterday, that this is one of the weeks that are going to be busy for the Christians who are celebrating Easter. Of course, today is Tuesday. We are going to have a Wednesday, Thursday, Good Friday, a dark Saturday, and Easter Monday, all aligned up for us. So as you're celebrating your Easter or as you're enjoying the holidays, I just want to tell you to take care and ensure that you keep yourself safe away from the accidents and everything. Karibu sana. I can see Dennis Nderitu ameshajiunga na mimi pale. So as you join me, ensure that you subscribe to Africa 24 Hour TV, you like the video and share with your friends and relatives. Of course, a lot has happened, and today I'm telling you, the panelists who are going to join me today, it's going to be hot. What happened? The youths, yani vijana wameamua. So youths have decided that all along. I can also see Joel Mainga is also watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joel. Karibu. So the youths all along have decided that, okay, these guys have been telling us that, youths are leaders of tomorrow. So youths are no longer buying these idea. I don't want to maybe use some unprinted words. And youth have decided that no, it is time to take over. So why do I have to say so? There's some recent developments today. We saw some youthful legislators that comprised of Babu Wino, Honorable Omuchomba, Caleb Amisi, Mwenje, Moago. Irrespective of their political affiliation, they came together and they formed a movement that is called ground team. Ground team simply mean they're the ones who are always on the ground there. They're the ones who will always get to listen to the voters. They're the ones who will get to know the problems that are facing people back on the ground. So they've said that this ground team is going to be a movement that is going to fight for the rights of Kenyans, simply because they've realized that the opposition is not doing much. The opposition have abandoned their role. So now they want to become the opposition in this country. That is what is happening. Babu Owino, together with Wamuchomba and the young legislators, have formed a movement. And this movement, they've said they are going to do everything possible to ensure that the plights of Kenyans are addressed, including the demonstrations that they said they are going to share the activities. So could this be a youthful revolution? Could this be a situation whereby now we are going to see some leadership or political cause? The youths have realized that the old guards over there are no longer concerned about their issues. So now they want to take it by their own. That is what we're going to look at today. And if you look at across the region, across the communities, there is some coup brewing. Go to Western Kenya. We are having Natembea who've declared war against Ford Kenya. He declared war against poverty. He declared war against ignorance, and specifically declared war against one Moses Masika Wetangula in irrespective order. So you've declared war and you've said that, okay, you've started a movement called Tawe movement. claiming that Wetangula have been there, calls himself third in command, have been a minister, is now a speaker, have been a senator for all those time, but there is nothing that the people of Western or the Mulembe can be able to see. The same sentiments are being echoed by Caleb Amisi, the Saboti MP, who claims that Mdavadi was a minister when he was in Standard 3. Right now, he is a second-term MP. So he feels that it is time that these old guards should go home. The same thing is happening when you go to the Nyanza. Raila is expected to leave to go to AU. So people there have started fighting who is going to replace Raila. You've seen different factions there. It's also happening. Joho is saying that, okay, I want to replace Raila. And he's also having with him people like Oledama Lekina, people like Babu Wino, and yesterday you saw him getting endorsed. On the other end, Oparanya is also saying he wants to replace Raila. And on the other end, you also see MPs from the Luo Nyanza saying that you see this ODM majority are Luos here. So when we talk of a replacement of Raila, we are the ones who should be there. So there's a lot of political eruptions taking place in this country. I can see Tatu Juma, Karibu Sana, Joel Mainga is saying, is this legal according to the situations? Okay, we are going to look at the legality, we are going to look at the possibility, but when it comes to politics, there's nothing that is normal. These are movements that people form. They can get some legal ways of doing things, and some of them they don't maybe do it legally. They have to create, politics all about a perception. Go to central Kenya. There's a group of people that feel that Gachagua cannot be able to lead them. Gachagua cannot be their kingpin and such kind of things. There's a group of people that feel that they now need to test the leadership of young leaders like Ndindi Nyoro. There's a group of people who also feel that they are independent. People like Wamuchomba, ever since she got elected, she's been voting against the UDA. She's been voting against the Kenya Kwanza. And now they've decided now to come together across the board. This team called the ground team is not for Azimio. It is not for Kenya Kwanza. It is for leaders who say they're independent, they are youthful, they have some new ideas, and they feel that the people who are their seniors cannot be able to do something that is going to change the lives of youths in this country simply because maybe they are serving their own personal interest, or they are used to the old politics whereby as long as your interest is served, you relax and enjoy at the expense of your voters. That is why when you see people like Babu Wino, Wamuchomba, both of the people from UDA, Jubilee, and ODM, they came together today and they formed that kind of movement. I'll play for you people that video shortly. Then from that, we'll be able to weigh on it. That is what is happening in this country. That is what is happening in the field of politics. So what we are saying as Kenyans is that we are just waiting to see how things are going to unfold. How are these things going to unfold? Because if you look at what I might term as a coup, it's brewing everywhere in all the regions. Go to central Kenya, go to coast, go to western Kenya, go to Nyanza, go to Gusii land. The youths are saying that now we need our space. And for that, some of them also got motivated by what happened in Senegal when Faye was elected the 5th president at 43. He's now the 5th president. And imagine this is after he's been arrested and all those kind of evil things that the former regime did to him. Could this be the African moment, the youthful moment that Africans have been waiting for, to see a moment where youth can also be able to showcase their leadership skills? I'm also joined by Boniface. I'll give him time to say hi and maybe give his opening remarks. Then after that, I just want to brief you through the video so that you can be able to know what this youthful movement is all about. Then after that, of course, our role is to weigh on it. How possible is it? How are they going to operate? And what do we need to expect? Of course, we're also going to look at other political developments and the economical situations, what is happening within our counties, and we're also going to weigh on them. Good is saying that young leaders will never happen in Kenya because we have oldies who are the most powerful, money-wise, and vintage in politics in maybe Africa. They have the upper hand. I don't know how this is possible, but we are seeing people. Actually, we also have equally youths who have money. We have money bags. When you talk of people like Steve Bogo, these are multi-billionaires, you know. So maybe how youth spend their money and how these oldies spend their money might be the difference. William Rono, karibu sana. Let them lay out their ideas. Not interested in youth leadership without ideas. We don't entertain disruptive revolutions. Actually, that one sounds well. What we need to tell these leaders, okay? You say that youth or the young can lead. How are you going to do it? Can you give us your strategy? Is it not just going to be the normal slogans, yeah, that Hakieto and such kind of things? I like what Rono is saying, that we are not going to buy that. So, sorry, thank you and welcome to Afrique, Mr. Kimanzi. Karibu sana. It's a good evening. I can see from the smile on your face. Say hi to the viewers and maybe you can give them your opening remarks before we proceed with this conversation. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Leo, for this wonderful opportunity. And in Africa, of course, we know that every day we have that political that takes place. We educate, we inform, and we try to tell our followers and those people who follow Africa 24 that it is here where you're going to share ideas, and these ideas are going to be helpful to any person who comes across this channel. And I really want to thank you and the followers who have been actively engaging us in the comment section. And as we pioneer today's show, I hope for the best, and I know good things are going to take place today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So to my viewers, I just want to play for you this video. Then we are going to weigh on it. Joel Mainga, karibu sana. According to political series since 1992, please give us a follow-up. Of course, I'm going to do that because right now what is happening in this country, we can relate it to what happened when Kenyans were yearning for what was called the multi-party democracy in 1992. And this revolution was spearheaded by the youth. That is the time that we had what was called the Young Turks. That is the time that we had Kiraitu Murungi, we had James Orengo, we had Martha Karua, we had people like Gitobu Imanyara, we had people like this Kabete lawyer, I'll remember the name. And we also had the likes of Wetangula, who are youths by then. And they fought, they galvanized and brought the country together and united the country, and they had the energy that even the Moi government will not be able to stop them. These guys had several demonstrations, several meetings, those things called the Saba Saba, until the Section 2A of the Constitution was repealed and it allowed multi-party system. After that, what happened? They formed the parties, then money, this thing called money. Moi used what is called divide and rule, and at the end of the day, they found themselves splitting into different groups, and Moi still managed. And what you're seeing currently, people are now talking of not talking of multi-party. We already have the multi-party. People now want what is called economic liberation. And the majority of people who are economically enslaved are youths. They are the majority who are not employed. They are majority who don't have income. So if these youthful leaders can put economy or economic liberation as part of the agenda, then I'm certain they are going to succeed. We are going to have another defining moment. From 1992 to 2022, those are 20 good years. Those are 2 decades. It's time for change. It's time that I think Kenyans should think in that direction. So the question that we're asking is that the youth that we have today, will they have that kind of integrity and perseverance to stand a government that is having money, a government that is ready to bribe, a government that is ready to use police force? Do they have that? Or there are people who will be shown some little money, then they change their mind and leave the youths? You've seen people complaining the effects of the Finance Act, the poor, the ones who are suffering, the avocados are being taxed. And these things were done by their MPs who are now saying that, okay, you see, this document is big, we did not read it. Instead of just saying, no, we were called, we were whipped, we were told, kila mtu achukue hii, then we passed it. Let us listen to this.
Objectively are fought for, not limited to holding rallies to discuss the plight and the issues affecting Kenyans, not limited to calling for maandamanos, regional maandamanos in every county, in every constituency, in every ward. And these maandamanos will better be imagined than experienced. And today we are here to talk about various issues. After that, we will be telling you a timetable on how we'll be moving as members of the press, because we want you to be part of us. And the first issue that we want to talk about is the issue of health. Mheshimiwa Pamushomba has talked about the issue of fertilizers and the plight of farmers in various parts of this country. All the members of parliament here will talk about different issues. I want to talk about the issue of the health crisis. Right now, doctors are striking, and this is their 14th day into their strike. We don't want the government to relax, to let the doctors strike for over 100 days that happened between the year 2016 and 2017. There was a CBA, a collective bargain agreement, that was signed between the government and the doctors. And it entailed, number one, that the doctors be paid their arrears owned by the government. Up to now, the doctors in this country are owned some money by the government. Number two, that the interns be deployed. For the past 1 year, doctors who have trained, taken 6 years to train, and every year a doctor is trained with an average of around 600,000 Kenya shillings, which comes to around 3.6 million Kenya shillings. Then, after finishing your degree, you are not deployed anywhere. Clear on matters of education that this government in itself, from the executive, is not educated. When you look at
just let me hold brief on the matter of health, because this is something that is so dear. You've seen the demonstrations that are taking place across the country and how the current CS is managing the demonstrations. Somebody would argue that had we had maybe the previous one, that is Mutai Kagwe, the one who managed the country during the worst time when we were hardly hit by corona, maybe it would have been done differently. Because what we are seeing, instead of the CS convening some meetings and coming into agreement or even giving some promises, she instead resorts to some threats and media show-ups. I just want to take you through a video of what happened today when the Senate Committee of Health visited the Nairobi Funeral Home, which was formerly called the City Mortuary. Then you'll realize that the health of this country is really deteriorating. Yeah, the health of this country is really unhealthy. So it's just a 3 minutes video. Then Bonfaz will allow you to weigh on it.
The Standing Committee on Health in the Senate paid a courtesy call to Nairobi Funeral Home, previously known as the City Mortuary. What they found was nothing short of shocking.
Facilities such as this, my brother, must always have power supply. You cannot say that the generator is not working. My brother, from 2018, generator is 12 million. From 2018, 12 million.
Senata wewe kuja kama kamati yetu ama kamati ya kaunti ya Senate. Haikuji kwa sababu wanakuja kuwinda atututafuta wewe ama kutafuta senata. Hapana. Tunakuja kwa sababu raia wamesema tuko na shida.
With no electricity and no working generator on site, what awaited them was a stench that even some senators could not bear. The buckets you see above are what holds the chemicals used for embalming. On a standard day, you would find dead bodies lying here. And the chemical store.
Hii mlango imekuwa hapa miaka ngapi wewe? Hii si mlango wetu. Sasa hii miaka yote kwa nini mbona ingate hiyo?
Unaona hii mtoni hiyo? Hiyo mtoni ni kwa hizi. Unakimbiaga huko mtoni. Wanaiba vitu ya store, wanakimbia hiyo mtoni. Hapa moja nimefanya miaka 21 years. Iko karata inachezwa hapa ndani mbaya.
Kitu ambacho tunaomba ni kazi. Si kazi nyingi.
Wale nadhani Mungu na madharau.
Bila mshahara, bila chochote.
Amlipwi?
Hakuna chochote.
County government. So what does it say on your contract? How much are you supposed to be paid?
No, only 3 months. Then we go again.
Unpaid attachment.
It's unpaid attachment.
Tunafaa kufika nje
Kwa nini?
nikatoa wapi?
Si uko na pesa?
Ya bodi. Kuja
Sio na pesa ya FIF.
hawezi kubali.
We witness a situation that I would not say is very good. It needs to be revisited, and we are asking the county government of Nairobi to begin to work on it. One, there is a generator there that has not been working since 2018, and unfortunately today on our visit we had a blackout that has lasted the greater part of the day, and that affects the mortuary operations. We want to urge the county government of Nairobi, and I think the governor and his team and the
Yes, Boniface, that is the state of the Nairobi Funeral Home, one of the largest that we have in Nairobi. Number one, no electricity. You've seen how pathetic it is. And the worst of it, you've seen people who work there, they don't get paid. You have unpaid internship. And that one explains why you see our nurses and doctors are on the street. That is one of the things that Babo Wino was talking of, that their group is going to deal with. You've addressed the state of health. So what do you have to say? That is what we have in the capital. Is the government doing enough?
What I can say about this situation that is ongoing in the country, we have the strike, and one of the times we have been having this show, I told you that we have some sensitive ministries that we need to consider, and we need to take full force when we are dealing with these ministries. Number one is the Ministry for Health. We need to have a lot of concentration when it comes to this ministry, and we have to make sure that the common mwananchi, because the citizen are the people who always compose the country. So if we don't have good health, then definitely Kenyans are going to suffer. So we have seen what is happening in the city mortuary, and the leaders were there. I was following today's Senate proceedings, and I heard the sentiments that they went there and they found that the generator is not even functioning. The situation even was not able to accommodate some of the senators, and they were very shocked. So we need to get someone who understands what it is this Ministry of Health, because I think President William Ruto, when it comes to choosing this cabinet, I think there he was very reluctant, and that is why now we are having this problem. Because if you could be having someone who is vocal, someone who can know how to engage stakeholders and make them come together and discuss what is happening in this country, then Susan Nakumicha could have done that even the first day of the strike. But again, we saw the statement that she made last time that she has some interns who are ready to work without being paid. And again, the big question is, how can someone survive in Nairobi without even a shilling, and he is going to work from morning to evening? And those are the sentiments that came from someone who is a CS. So I think we need to get someone who understands what is this ministry, because this one is a sensitive ministry that needs a lot of concentration, a lot of care. And by this, it is only a good way that we're going to make sure that our citizens are well protected, because without health, Kenyans will be feeble and weak. And if we lose a lot of people, those are the number of votes that we're going to lose. And here the situation is worsening. because we have seen a lot of people complaining because not everyone can afford to go to private hospitals. These public hospitals are only made for common mwananchi. But again, here now the common mwananchi is suffering. We need to get someone who understands this ministry. I think William Ruto there was very reluctant, and he chose some people there. The cabinet, I think some CS there, I don't even agree. I don't even see the kind of work they're doing. I can even state the number of the CS who are working. They are trying, but generally 30% of this cabinet are doing nothing. 30%, yeah.
Bonnie, and that is one of the things that the kind of the youthful movement that is being formed, they are planning to deal with. They are seeing that when you look at this country, health department as is falling, education has really been killed, and you know one of the most important thing for the sustainability of a country is education, because education is what prepares the future generation. So if you want to destroy a generation, or if you want to destroy a nation, the first thing that you need to do is to interfere with their education system. After you've interfered with their education system, you also need to interfere with their belief system, with their moral values and such kind of things. And when you look at these things and the kind of movement that is being formed like 20 years after a movement that liberated this country 1991 to 1992, I just want to respond to one. I think this is Joel Mainga, who is asking for some insights of what happened. So, Joel, what happened in the 1990s? These guys were basically fighting for the human rights. They had not reached a point of fighting for the maybe economic liberation. Remember, by that time, Kenya was a single party democracy whereby everybody belonged to KANU. And by that, had you tried to go against KANU, then you get expelled, and that is how you lose your seat, and that is how everything ends. Unlike today, where somebody like Wamuchomba can go against UDA or against Kenya Kwanza, but she'll still remain to be in parliament. That one will not have happened during that time. The system of election was also skewed. People were still using what was called the mlolongo. If I'm contesting, my photo is put there, and Boni's photo is put there. So when you go voting, you will have to make a line behind my photograph. So this one was so dangerous because people will know you did not vote for so and so. And this one encouraged discrimination, and people are even attacked at their homes because they know, like what happens. What Gachagua used to tell you, that we have those people who are shareholders and those people who are not shareholders. So the shareholding thing was there, but that one was open because they would know, Boniface, who you voted for. You will make a line before the person you vote for. So in fact, these are some of the things that brought chaos, and people decided to oppose them. Remember, Jaramogi 1991 tried to register a party, and this thing was thwarted, and he got arrested and got detained. And things happened in December. I think it was around December 3rd. That is when there was a major shift, when the Section 2A of the Constitution got introduced. This one was introduced in 1982, actually, and they had to repeal it 10 years later. So this one is what banned opposition groups. So when they removed it, when it got repealed, that is when people are now allowed to register other political parties. That is when you saw people went and registered that Ford, that later split into Ford Kenya and Ford Asili, and the Ford Kenya that is being led by Moses Masika Wetangula today. And that is why when you see people like Natembea saying that they've declared a war against Ford Kenya, they know this is a party that has been there historically, but they feel that it hasn't achieved well, and it is time that Kenya should now abandon this pre-colonial, the post-colonial political parties that they feel had already served their purpose. Main purpose of Ford Kenya was to liberate people on political issues and things to do with the human rights. Until now, we are having one of the most progressive constitutions. So they feel right now we don't need parties like Ford Kenya, but we now need parties whose ideas are aligned to the sustainable economic goals, whose ideas are aligned to creating employment and opening opportunities for the youths, and maybe building something for the future generations. If you look at a party like Ford Kenya, it wasn't formed to serve that kind of a purpose. We had parties like KANU that were formed specifically to usher us into independence. They already achieved that. So partly I agree with this youthful group. The only thing that people want is that they need to come clean and give us their plans, their vision. Then from that, I see most of Kenyans are going to follow them, and most of Kenyans are going to buy the idea. And this is a movement that, if you look at it carefully, it's going to bring a lot of political changes, and our politics is going to change moving ahead. Goodia is saying that the government needs a care quality firm who goes and check the hospitals. I think good dear, in each and every department of the government, there's something called the Q. We have the quality assurance department in each and every department, right? From the Teacher Service Commission, from the police, National Police Service, in all the departments. So the problem, I think, is that people are not responsible enough. People don't take their jobs serious. The people don't take their job serious. So I just want to let us proceed with these some of the issues that the guys were talking of. I want us to weigh on them one by one.
The members of the cabinet, they are not educated, therefore they cannot give preference to education in this country. So on matters capitation, the government is involved in a PR exercise. Look at what President Ruto has done in the last 1 year. Look at the marking of the KCPE examination. Just marking can be a problem to this government. What about releasing money? Number two, the KCSE exams. Marking of the KCSE exams was a problem. What about now? Number three, the varsity education. The government decided to increase fees such that the minimal amount of money for a social science course, an art course, is costing 300,000 Kenya shillings. Where will a Mama Mboga get that 300,000 Kenya shillings to educate their children? Up to now, as we speak, over 50,000 students haven't reported to Form 1, up to now. But the government keeps saying that, you see, they're involved in matters education. They are not. So Ruto should not lie to us about issues of education, and we will start querying about his credentials. Because a sane president cannot employ a person who is not even qualified to be a secretary. And this is an intentional form of sabotage, because the government wants parents to pay fee using the e-citizen so that they can collect that money. Those parents are paying fees using chicken, goats, and some of them are working for those schools. How will you put a goat inside e-citizen? Exactly. You know, if the government fails to release this money, it is very simple. This team that you are seeing here, the ground team that you are seeing here, is out to sacrifice for the interest of Kenyans. We are going to put from primary school kids.
From the time of colonialism, from the fight for multipartism, from the fight for promulgation of the new constitution, and to the fight for devolution, every generation has had a chance to rise up and do what needed to be done. We are now called upon as a generation to rise up and do what needs to be done. We fought democracy, we fought new constitution, we fought multipartism. Now it's time for economic emancipation. This is the duty of our generation. And we are here to announce that there is a new awakening. The young, the energetic, the charismatic, the revolutionary have arisen. And it's not going to be business as usual on the streets. We are going to rise up and take up our duty, our cardinal duty, to protect and preserve the interests of the local mwananchi. On the issue of the health, it has been my proposal, even during the BBI and even the NADCO report, that we must have a health service commission. Just the way we have a teacher service commission, we no longer hear about teacher strike.
The message is well home. So that is the group, Mr. Boni, of young, they call themselves young politicians. They've come together, and their aim is to ensure that they want to form a movement, not a political party. they just remain within their parties. But since they share similar ideas, since they come from regions that have similar problems, they feel that they want to form a movement that will specifically look into the economic problems and the welfare of the citizens who cannot be able to fight for themselves. So the question I'm asking you, do you think that these leaders are going to manage, or they are going to be sabotaged maybe by the forces that we have within maybe the systems?
One thing I want to say about that meeting that was held today is that Baba Wino always tries to make sure that he represents every person in this country. Now he has been talking about education for a long time, and now today he even talked about it again. Now he talked about health. What I can say about those leaders is they have that authority, and they can represent and they can push. And in Kenya, it only depends on how you're going to start. And when you start, people are going to join on the way. So I think that is a good idea. They tried so that they can push the government, so that it can make sure that it makes all the areas that involve common mwananchi to be in the right way. Because once I even said that William Ruto did a very bad thing, because by choosing some of the cabinets, he was even, I don't have any vocabulary to describe how, why, and which methodology he used to choose those cabinets. Because number one, we know that Ministry of Education is one of the sensitive ministries that we need a lot of care, and it needs a lot of attention. So he gave Ezekiel Machogo. I personally believe that Ezekiel Machogo is not worthy to be a cabinet secretary for education. I personally believe that Susan Nakumacha is not worthy to be a minister for health. Personally, I believe that other ministries there, they are doing nothing. Ministry for Agriculture doing nothing. Ministry for lands, they are doing nothing. Ministry for assaults and a ministry for wildlife, they are doing nothing. Because we have been having cases whereby people have been attacked by wild animals. There is no even gazetting of those lands whereby we have wild animals. I think Ministry for Security, Ministry for Education, Ministry for Health, William Ruto there, he was very reluctant, and he chose people who are not even qualified for that job. And that's why we are suffering. That's why education now is going down. Education system now, people, they don't value education for Kenya. And we know that Kenyan education has been one of the best since colonial time, since we had the 844 system. Now we have the CBC, whereby it has confused every parent. They changed. It always takes time to transform these changes. So now we are having problems in the country. What I think is Baba Wino is in the right track, and if they come out with that motion and they press to the government, then definitely the government will try to make sure that they do the right thing. And I've heard him saying that they will bring a motion in the government that they will impeach CS Susan Nakumicha. Personally, I think that woman is doing nothing in that sector, in that ministry. So we can get someone who understands what is Kenyan health, someone who understands issues of mwananchi. Mwananchi here is the person who is suffering, because those people who have money, they will go to private hospitals. People who have money, they will take their children to international schools. And now we all depend with the public schools. These things of education have really affected people, and I think the transformation will take time. And I don't know what is the legislature doing, because they are the ones to make those laws, and they are the ones to make sure that the laws align to what citizens want. Nowadays, we have zero public participation when it comes to these laws. Why? We are getting back to I don't know if it is Moise reign or what.
So, Bonfaz, you are trying to say that there is disconnection in almost every department, because if you look at the Ministry of Agriculture, this is a time that Kenyans are receiving rains, and this is a time that they should be preparing the land for the planting season. They're expecting to get some fertilizers which are subsidized from the National Cereals Board. But it is reported that the government has left some unsuspecting businessmen and women who are now selling for them the stones. Some are being sold stones, some are being sold farmyard manure. People have taken the poo, the donkey's poo, and have mixed with stones and are selling to the farmers at the price of subsidized fertilizer. And imagine these things are being sold right from the National Cereals Board stores. So it tells you there's somebody who's sleeping on the job. Either the Cabinet Secretary of Agriculture is aware, or he is ignorant about what is taking place in his department. Go to the health department. You've just seen what is happening. There are strikes, 10 days. Doctors are striking over things that can be agreed upon. But what you see the Cabinet Secretary is doing, nothing. When it comes to security, I just want you to have a look at this video. It's so painful. It's so painful that this is a chief, the person who maybe we might be running to when we feel insecure, but the chief himself is planning to resign because anasema hii kazi hawezi, serikali is not supporting.
Ni aibu sana chief aombe na alikuwa mtumishi wa serikali. It is only 2 months. I cannot develop myself. Na mbusi yangu iko pale Serition na Kasiokon. I don't know serikali watachukua na managari. Hawa wamesema kwanza ukitaka kumaliza location toboa chief. That is why tunangolewa sasa. Yatia mbusi yake imeenda, watoto aliuliwa, sasa yeye amepaki peke yake na mama na nini. Na yule ya market ya Chemoe ya Tuluk mbusi imeenda. Na hata saa hii mimi naomba nataka kwenda kupumzika because I was supposed to be in terminal leave. Na sasa mimi naona bado nakaswa kuongezwa stress. Na sitaki kukupa mimi mwenyewe. Hii mwezi mbili ni ile serikali wanipatia ni starehe. Nikingojea kwa ndo mali ya serikali. So I can borrow that one and nitaenda. Sitaki tena kuitwa. Watoto wangu hawako nyumbani, mimi mwenyewe nachipikia, nalala peke yangu na kuku. Mpaka asubuhi, hata asubuhi wakati nakuja lazima nilishe ile njao ya mbuzi imebaki 10. Ile watu kula nyasi. So serikali naamini hii kitu haiwezi shinda serikali. Thank you.
That video is really painful. I felt it watching how the chief is crying because of insecurity. So that is why when you say that even our security department kuna hitilafu. So what do you think should be done? Goodyear has told you that Ruto did not have time to select his cabinet. He just wanted to form a government. But Goodyear, it happens. Sometimes you might not have time to form the cabinet, maybe to select. You just want to form the government. You form the government. What stops you from correcting the mistakes? I think it's been enough time that now he understands the people that he have in each and every department, who can do what and who cannot do what. During Uhuru time, they used to give them lighter duties. If you can remember that term, whenever Uhuru realized you could not perform, they will give you lighter duties. I think Waiguru was sometimes given lighter duties. Amena Mohammed was sometimes given lighter duties. Why can the president give people that he thinks are not performing some lighter duties to relieve them? Because this is so sad. That is a chief. And in those areas, chiefs are the ones who are in charge of security. If you attacked, the only place you feel safer is if the chief himself is not safe and is saying that sasa hataki hiyo kazi, and he is crying. We are still discussing taking our police officers to Haiti. But we cannot be able to sort what is happening back in our country. There's lawlessness in those areas. We want to go and sort lawlessness in Haiti. Costa is saying this is so sad. It's so sad. I've watched that video and I've really, if you try to empathize and put yourself in the in the shoes of that chief, you'll understand why an old man is shedding tears. Boniface, what is wrong?
Uh, as I told you that they are doing nothing. The cabinet is doing nothing. All of them. Even I have been seeing the cabinet for interior security going hand in part of the country. But what is the achievement that he has been doing? Now people are suffering. The bandit attack in Rift Valley are there, still there. People are losing life. We saw what happened in Lamu, in Mandera. Even in a police station, they can come and attack even a police station. I saw a situation whereby 3 police officers were killed in a police station, whereby there was a bomb somewhere where that was set. That means he is hyping using these helicopters and government resources to go to any part of the country. But what is the achievement? What is he achieving? Because we have a lot of insecurity in this country. Yeah, so I think you can be having that that hype, but again, you are doing nothing. Again, what we need to do is let's come together. Let's come together and give our president ideas, because I think when it comes to this cabinet, president, as one of our followers said here, he just came up with the names and they suggested and they were published, and that is how they become the cabinet. But definitely they are doing it. I cannot suggest one CS who is doing a good job. What I can say is some are trying. During Kenyatta time, even Kenyatta, he got asleep, because I remember that time when the ministry for sports was headed by Amina. That is the time we got the ban from the FIFA, because the acting CS was doing nothing. So if you are the CS and you're doing nothing, you cannot even take place in those ideas whereby we have the problem. You cannot even give our grievances. Then we were banned. Again, we took time so that we can retrieve that ban. I think when it comes to this cabinet, because this cabinet are the people who run the country, because if it is the Ministry of Agriculture, it is the CS there who is responsible for making sure that things are in the right order. We have seen people complaining that we have fake fertilizers that are going on. We know that agriculture is our backbone. Without food, without ugali, maize is the staple food for Kenya. Not unless the changing digital world where people are now trying to transform to KFC, where people are trying to use the processed food. But again, maize is the staple food for common mwananchi. You will always find them eating ugali and those other things. So people are saying, I was following today's Senate, and one of senators today there, nominated senator there, who is Tabitha Mutinda, she said that those are the cartels who are even trying to paint the government with the negative picture. She said that the government is doing the right job, but cartels are trying to paint the government in the wrong way. That is why we have these fertilizers. But again, there was a question that was posed by Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Let me ask you, Boniface. So how can cartels who are opposing the government access the National Cereals Board that is manned and belongs to the government? How possible is that? Or do you want, or did she try to mean that the government is sabotaging itself?
What I heard from her is she was trying to defend the government, because there was a question that was posed there by Senator Kio, Senator Kio, who is a senator for Kitui County. And there were a lot of questions that were raised there. So they were trying to discuss what is this Minister of Agriculture doing, because if we can get fake fertilizers from the National Cereals Board, from even the county government, from even the national government, then what is the government doing, the Ministry of Agriculture to be specific, because William Ruto cannot be taking place in this or in all these ministries. He has assigned someone. So it is the responsibility. It is the mandate of those people to make sure that things are in the right order. So I think this thing needs to be taken serious, because you cannot paint a government a negative way. You cannot just try to buoy it so that we can have it performing. As Edwin Spooner asked her to give us the evidence how this government is trying to make sure that we are getting the best fertilizers in regards to what happened in the central region. The farmers were taxed, even avocados. Taxation was imposed. So I think these sensitive ministries, having people who doesn't understand how to run this ministry. So out of this cabinet, I don't think whether there's someone who is performing. We have the Duale. Duale has been silent. Duale has been there, but he has been silent. He has been doing nothing. You have the Ministry for Finance doing nothing, totally nothing. So I don't think whether we have this cabinet, and I don't think whether they are doing any job to these Kenyans. We need to get someone who understands this government, someone who understands this country, because
And
we have a lot of problems.
some of the proposals that you've had, that ground team, the one that has just been formed by Wamuchomba, Babu Wino, Caleb Amisi, Mwango, among the young leaders that we have in this country, one of their proposals, they proposed that they are going to even call for demonstrations. Do you think they'll manage to push the government to give service to the citizens? Or they are just going to do what has been done previously and nothing happened? Do you think William Ruto will listen to them?
At some point there will be a pressure. There will be some pressure that has been created somewhere. But I think Kenyans follow the channel that comes. Any tributary that is start, then they are going to follow it. So if they start that maandamano, trying to push the government, Kenyans will join, and if they join, then President William Ruto will try to cover his job. He's trying to cover the image of this country, because a lot of people will be seeing nowadays we have the internet that is distributing information to even remote parts of the world. So you will act accordingly so that he can prevent the image of the country and his job, because he's the leader. He is now the kingpin of this country. So I think if they start, then there will be a pressure that will be created somewhere, and William Ruto will try to do what they are requesting. And that is all what we want. That is all what Kenyans want. Service and giving us a delivery to what you promised. We have a lot of things that need to be considered here, not about
Now,
housing bill and
you know the nature of the youth that we have in this country. Yeah, they are youths that okay, there is a term that they normally use, that they need to be mobilized, but in other words, it's usually not mobilization, but it is a bribe. They are youths that they need to be paid to fight for their rights, something like that. So do you think that youths are going to realize that they really need to fight for what belongs to them, and give some support to this newly found group?
what I can say about the group is the youth will try to show what they can do, to show how they can push towards the making sure that the Kenyans get the right service. I think they will demonstrate a virtue there. That is all what Kenyans want. They want someone who can drive their grievances, because you cannot stand alone and try to force the government. You will suffer. So by the youth now, then these young politicians, then when they start this one, they are going to push, and that is where the government will join.
That is great. As maybe I take a short break, and we are going to look at some of the movements. It is not only this, but there is like a storm, yeah, in leadership, and there is something that I describe as a coup, whereby the youths are now rising and they want to take their position in the leadership. I don't know they are motivated by the uprisings that are happening in Africa. So we're going to look at different regions, right from Western, there's something happening. Go to Nyanza, go to Central, and of course, if you listened to what happened last week, the deputy president even had to go and apologize and humble himself and apologize to Mama Ngina. Maybe he realized. So that apology is more of a political reconciliation than just a sincere apology. So we are going to look at that, and maybe as we are taking break for the lovers of football, I just have to remind you that today, as the Kenyan Harambee Stars captain Michael Olunga is celebrating his birthday. He managed to score 3 goals that have seen Kenya be emerging the winners of what was called the Four Nation tournament. Yeah, the Four Nation tournament that was taking place in Malawi. This is after Kenya managed to beat Zimbabwe 3-1. Actually, the first goal was so fast, it was an own goal. But despite that, the captain have managed kukomboa and to put us ahead. So we are officially the winners of the Four Nations Tournament 2024 that was held in Malawi. So as we wish Engineer Michael Olunga a happy birthday, we also want to congratulate the entire Harambee Stars team for making us proud and coming back with that prestigious trophy. I know those people who support Kenyan football, and maybe those who might have thought that our football is deteriorating, at least they have something to smile about. So we continue with our conversation shortly. So if you're joining me for the first time, I would just like to remind you to subscribe to Afrique 24 Hour. That is the only way that you can be able to support this program. Of course, we are in different channels. You'll find us in Mutembe. You'll also find us in Leo TV. But if you subscribe to Afrique 24 Hour, that is how you promote this program, and we'll ensure that we always here to ensure that we connect you with African stories. I can maybe see Inspire Women say Zakayo likes working with people who have no idea of what they are doing in their ministries. So to allow him get away with the murder without noticing, people have already argued that even William Ruto himself confirmed that he knows the ministry more than or better than the people that he've given those ministries. I know we're also going to look at that. That one tells you that, okay, he wants to be the smartest in that group so that nobody challenges him. Now, such kind of leadership is normally done by people who are so inferior, people who suffer inferiority complex. They don't want somebody who is smarter than them. And if you look at the Kenyan history, we've had political assassination and such kind of things because of leaders who thought that they should not have people who are smart around them. If you look at the sudden death of people like Tom Mboya, they'll tell you that it was because he appeared to be too smart. And people also try to relate it with some succession politics now that they'd seen that Kenyatta had grown old and maybe was not likely to participate in the next general election. So somebody who was seen to be smarter, who would succeed him, was somebody like Tom Mboya. Look at the death of people like Dr. Odhiambo Mbai. These are people who showed that they were smart, and because the people who were in leadership did not want people to outsmart them, they resorted to eliminating them. So such kind of behavior is really bad when it comes to leadership. Goodyear is telling us that Ruto should stop going to the opening of things because his assistant can deal with that while he delivers the mandate he promised. No, he need to show you that he's working. If he promised you something, he needs to go there and show you that he's working. Eh? How about the railway track Zakayo opened the other day, and the following day all the track was gone? Oh, what happens so far? If you look at most of the projects that have been launched, few of them are running, or few of them are progressing. Most of them stopped from launching. Maybe Kenyans are good at seeing, or they like seeing things being launched rather than seeing things happening. So that is what we have in this country, and those are some of the things that we should work towards getting leaders or getting people in leadership who can think differently, people who can think beyond maybe popularity. That idea of let me go there, they see me, they'll think I'm working. We need people who will not have to market or put a billboard to show us that they are giving sanitary pads, or people will not have to put build some 3 doors of a pit latrine and use a billboard that is worth those pit latrines just to show that they've built some pit latrines. So if we can have that kind of thinking, then I think this country can be ahead and we can do better than we are doing right now. I will proceed shortly after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm glad that you're still glued in and you're watching this program. You're most welcome, and I do appreciate you people taking your time to watch. This is our daily political talk show where we try to connect you with the Kenyan politics. We try to weigh in what has happened, and we also try to inform the public on what is expected of them, as we hope that one of these days we are going to have a country that each and every one of us desires to have. Of course, with me, I'm having Boniface Kimanzi, of whom he is helping me to weigh on some of the political happenings that are happening in this country. I know people are now waiting for the Easter. We are having Easter ahead. Already people are in some holiday mood. Tomorrow is Wednesday. On Thursday, I don't know, it's called Maudi Thursday. Then we are having a Good Friday. Is it dark or black Saturday? And of course, Easter Monday. So as you prepare, or most people like traveling during the festives to go and have some good moments with the families and friends. So what I'll urge you is that you ensure that you keep safe, so that we don't want to see people losing lives during this kind of festives because of overspeeding or such kind of related things. So just keep safe, drive safely, and ensure that you take care of yourselves. We still need you after these holidays. It is not the end of life. So back to our discussion. We are today looking at some political coup that is happening in this country, and it's something that we can be able to read. There is a crop of leaders a certain age that now feel that they've waited for so long, and the wait is too long that they can't keep waiting. But it is the time they rise and take their space, take their seat. They don't need to wait to be told. We are looking at what is happening in the central parts of Kenya. We are having the likes of Dindi Nyoro, the likes of Wamchomba. When you go to the western part of Kenya, we are having people like Caleb Amisi. We are having people like Natembea, who've declared war on the old guys. Yes. Go to the Nyanza. We are having the Aratis who already declared the war and ensure that people like Samongeris are no longer close to power. Now it is them to grab who is going to be the king of Omogusi. Go to the Nyanza part of it. Yeah, like even the exit of Raila is claimed to be leaving some 3 vacant positions. That is the position of the leader of Azimio. We're going to have the position of the party leader of ODM, and also maybe the Luo Kingpin or something like that. Look at Kalonzo is also moving right, left, center, trying to position himself maybe as a leader of Azimio. Though in Ukambani, we've not had that kind of brushing shoulder of who is who. I think that is the only part of this country that we are having less political activities, and it is known. The Kambas, they are kind of politics is normally not ruthless. They are normally not aggressive. They speak on the ballot. That is the good thing with them. In Kamba politics, they are not aggressive. They won't have those kind of chaos you see in Western. They won't involve the goons. They won't involve in name calling. They won't humiliate their opponents. But they will speak in the ballot. They proved that on severally. When they got dissatisfied with maybe the Uhuru and the Ruto government, you saw how they overwhelmingly voted for Raila. So that is the only part of this country that you're not seeing any political activities taking place. Go to Coast, the same is happening. Go to Nyanza, you see there are groups of people who are trying, okay, we want to replace Raila. Okay, we want to chat a different way. You see such kind of things. You go to Western, the same thing is happening. You go to Central, the same story is happening. People are fighting who is who. You come to Nairobi, we are having Sakaja and Sifuna. They're also fighting nani wakukuja na nani wakuzaliwa Nairobi. So we are going to look at that, Boniface, and why do you think that right now maybe the youthful leaders, could we say that they've now woken up and they've realized that if they keep on waiting, they'll wait until they grow old? Do you think that is the reason why they are now rising? And you heard the other day, Babu said, in that table, when Raila goes to AU, the table where Kalonzo and the other principal are seated, he must sit there. And if he's not on that table, then the table will have to be broken. I don't know how you interpret that. So do you think youths have realized that they have the potential and they have to go for it, as nobody will come and give it to them?
Yeah, there is change in reign, and this change in reign is going to transform a lot of things. That's why they are fighting for this leadership, because we know that this digital world, things are trying to change, and now wale wazee wa kitambo walikuwa wanatuongoza. It's their time now to hand their leadership and deliver their mentors, because you cannot be just having 70 years or 60 years and you don't have a mentor, youth politicians who can lead the country or can take your position. So what I can say is the guys now are trying to prove themselves that they can lead the country and they can take some big position, and that is what you want, because we saw what happened in Senegal. That guy is that president is almost 43, 44 years, so he is young. We also saw what happened in West Africa. So this is a high time that we Kenyans can also transform this leadership, and we change this reign, whereby now we have the youthful leaders, people under the age of 40 years. And that is the best way that we can all make sure that we can develop this country. And again, they must be having no selfishness, or they must be not be having this idea of eating alone. I remember a statement that was made by former President Uhuru Kenyatta. He said, heri mzee mwenye hana njaa kuliko kijana mwenye anachukua tu akikula. I don't know how he made, but that is all what we want, that they should not be in that caliber. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boniface. It's true that the youthful leaders, the ones below 40 years old, have realized that okay, now it's their time. Maybe they've really been waiting for this kind of endorsements. They've really been waiting for this kind of handing over, but this one is not happening. I just want to play one video from the western part of Kenya. Of course, I'll also get one from Nyanza. I'll also get one from Central, so that we can be able to see how people are really scrambling. There is I can call it scramble for kingpin sheep or something like that. People are really scrambling.
Kuna wengine wamesahau Mungu huko Bungoma. Wako na Yesu huko. Ati wako na Yesu bwana, wako na Yesu ya Tongareni huko. Ati pia wako na Pope. Ati wako na Papa ya Roma huko. Watu wanafanya watu wa Luhya tunakuwa watu wa brand of jokes everywhere. Hata ukienda mimi ndio Nairobi kule, wakizia natoka weza ambia habari ya Yesu ya Tongareni. We just become like all jokers. And they are happy kufanya hizo vitu. Hao ndio viongozi ambao tuko nao. Viongozi ambao maisha yao yote hajawahi kusacrifice anything for anybody. Viongozi ambao wanatueja niwaambie watu wetu, hii freedom ambayo watu wanaona watu wanaongea hivi. Kuna mtu ambaye alisimama akaambia Moi. Moi was larger than life. Moi alikuwa kila mahali. Moi alikuwa ameweka intelligence bako kwa manyumba za watu. Unaishi na bibi kumbe anafanya na intelligence. Unaongea tu maneno na bibi, ikifika asubuhi askari wamekufikia. Ala mama anakuambia unajua mzata hiyo ukuta iko na masikio. Na kumbe masikio ni yeye. Lakini kuna watu waliambia mzee Moi enough is enough. We want our freedom. Lazima tuongee, si ndio? Sasa hadi mimi nikisema Papa ya Roma ameingiza watu yetu kwa mtambo kwa umaskini, iko watu wanakuja waniambia kwamba nisiongee. Kweli hawa jamaa kama wangekuwa kina Muliro wakati huo, sisi tungepata independence kweli? Hawa jamaa wangeambia mzungu aende kweli? Hawa kina Chikati wangekuwa tapigwa kiboko na mzungu, alafu anaambia mzungu hiyo kiboko iko sawa sawa, ongeza ingine. Yaani unaogopa mtu paka unatetemeka tu. Sisi tumesema mambo ya ugandamiza watu wetu ili wa worship na tembe hiyo imekwisha. Nataka mkuwe na pesa. Hata ukitembea hapa town ukikanyaga nyanya ya mtu mnamalizania hapo. Hawa mama wa nyanya mnaona wanaimba hapa. Enda kanyaga nyanya yake hapa za hii town uone. Mtafikishana kwa polisi. Sisi hatutaki hiyo aibu. Ndio mnaona hii mambo ni ya kuweka pesa kwa mifuko. Sitaki kijana wewe uko na bibi, hapo na mzigo, unaona mama, mambo yanaendelea tu, inakuwa kubwa. Wakati mama anakuambia sasa mambo yameharibika usiku, unaanza kupigia na tembea simu hadi mama sasa mambo yamekuwa mbaya. Tafuta gari ya kupeleka hospitali. Mama anaenda kujifungua, kutoka hospitali unasema una pesa, una bill ya kulipia mama. Amekuzalia mtoto. Mtoto mwenyewe umezalisha. Unataka wanaume wengine wakuchangie mtoe mama kule, ni kama ukuchangia kuweka mtoto huko. Aibu. Aibu ya umaskini ndio hiyo. Hakuna aibu ya umaskini ambaye inashinda hiyo. Kutangazia dunia mzima kwa mama amejifungua na huwezi kumleta nyumbani. Hiyo ndio aibu mimi nataka kuondoa Trans Nzoia. Na watu wangu, hii maneno inatisha watu. Kuna watu ambao wanaamini kwamba uongozi yao lazima ashikwe na mtu atanaletwa hapa anasema huyu akuwe gavana na anasema basi ndio hiyo. Wala ambao wanaamini hiyo hawataki mambo ya kufanyia wananchi kazi. Hii maneno inawatisha sana. Mimi ni generali niko mbele. Nyinyi ni soldiers. Nikiangalia nyuma mtakuwa mtakuwa. Si mtakuwa. Hii mahali imefikia ni kama ile ndege iko runway karibu ina take off. Huwezi kuisimamisha. It either takes off or it crashes. We are not ready to crash. Tumeelewana? Watoto tumeelewana? Na nyinyi wacha niwaambie. Kuna watu ambao wanasifanya kwamba hao ndio wanaongoza Western huko. Western region iko na mabunge karibu 45. Ford Kenya iko na bunge 5. ANC iko na mabunge gapi?
The scenarios in Western is totally different and from what people understand. Western is facing a leadership deficit for a long time. It has been the wish and hope of the Mulembe nation that one of their sons can at some time become the president of this region. And there is also a heavy condemnation on why that the second largest community in the Republic does not get the necessary support and resource allocation, infrastructural development. There is no single factory in Western region There is nothing, absolutely nothing in infrastructure, in water, in health, in the entire Western region. So there is a climate of revolution. There's a climate of revolution. I came from Vihiga, attending Dr. Henry Chakava's funeral, and I could see the whole crowd following me and leaving Mudavadi there to address chairs, empty chairs. So there is a whole revolution coming in Western region. It is not just Natembea. It is a number of us that are going to stand our authority and say enough is enough. We've given you 40 years to try and become a president of this country. You've not. And you see, when you see a whole so-called speaker or kingpin, they call themselves kingpin, and they call themselves third in command. If you see such an individual mobilizing goons, youth, to a funeral, then why are you calling yourself a kingpin? Have you ever seen Raila?
That you mobilized goons.
We come from Trans-Nzoia, we know. The youth told us who mobilized them. They were mobilized by people.
How is that a statement of fact to state?
It is a statement of facts because the youth are telling us who mobilized them. As much as Natembea is wrong, then the speaker is also wrong. He should, at his status, he should not have played into Natembea's hands. He should not mobilize. If you know you are a leader in a region and you see Natembea is mobilizing people to heckle or do what, as a speaker, provide leadership. Then that's how people will see you are a leader. But if you...
Just hold on, because I'm concerned about what you're saying. Was there breach of peace in that funeral?
I was not in the funeral, but there's totally from the videos we see, that is total chaos. And it is a chaos.
I can tell you.
And, it is a chaos that
you're stating here that the National Assembly Speaker mobilized goons to that funeral.
Is
this information that has been taken to the police?
Yeah, maybe because these people are seen mobilizing. He has his people on the ground. He has 40 Kenya foot soldiers on the ground. They are seen mobilizing. If you are in that funeral and you are young people are mobilizing, why can't you give an order that even if they are on the side that are mobilized, let us behave differently, and then they'll see the leadership in you. But if you play into Natembea's hands of causing chaos in funeral, and you are a regional kingpin.
Yes, Boniface, that was what I was saying. Each and every region right now, there are people who want some change, some political change. That is Caleb Amisi telling you that it is not about Natembea. There are people who believe, like if you look at how he described, there are people who believe that, okay, there are people who've been in these politics for long. Moses Wetangula was Moi's lawyer. Moses Wetangula have been a minister. Actually, he was a minister of foreign affairs, and that is the time that Kenya, there's this scandal, I think you know it, when they wanted to sell our hotels in Dubai. Mudavadi was a minister when Hamisi was in Standard 3. Mudavadi became a vice president. You get it? Became a deputy prime minister, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things that are making the youthful leaders realize that, okay, what is it that these people could not have done within those decades that they want to do now when they are old? Why can't they leave the scene, then we take over? So it is a reality. And some of the things that you saw happening today, those ones were just part of it. Like when you saw leaders from different political parties coming together and saying that we are now forming our caucus, we are now forming our movement, and we are calling it Team Ground. It tells you that it's a reality that people cannot run away from right now. So what do you take on that? That now in each and every region, people are yearning for change of guard. Does it mean the people who are there before have failed, or people just need a change? And do you support it?
What I can say about this scramble for power when it comes to different regions is that this one is going to bring a lot of effects, a lot of it come 2027. because it is now 2024 and leaders are trying to scramble for power, scramble for being the kingpin of this region. So what I can say about this is these regions now, leaders have different ideas and they are giving different opinions when it comes to why they differ with each other. But again, what is the main question here to drive is how are you going to make sure that you implement the right policy when it comes to your leadership? Now, Natebea is the governor of Tanzania. How is he going to perform? I have seen a lot of people complaining about him, and now he is the governor there. What has he done to the Luya and also people who are over there? Because it is a mix-up county. So I think these leaders now scrambling for power, they need to know what they are doing because it is very hard to start scrambling for this power since we have a country to serve, a country to perform duties so that the citizens of this country can feel comfortable. So I think they are doing something that is bad because it is very hard to start scrambling for this power. But again, giving ideas is necessary, but what happened in that funeral that happened in Rift Valley, there was a scramble for power, and a lot of people were there trying to oppose what was said by Natembeya. I saw people were saying there was a group that was brought in by Speaker of the National Assembly. So I don't know what is happening, but again, leaders need to understand that we have a country to serve, despite what they have when it comes to political differences and maybe personal in their personal life.
Yeah, the good year is telling me that fighting in a funeral is not an excuse, and below the belt, the deceased did not rise in peace. Yeah, fighting in a funeral actually should really be condemned because this one is number one violating the rights of the dead, and it's disturbing the peace of the dead who should always be resting in peace. So whenever people start fighting, you'll find that these people who've departed are denied that opportunity to rest in peace. So that is what is happening in the western part of Kenya. And if I ask you, Bonnie, in your own opinion, between Wetangula and Natembeya, who do you think is going to win this war? It's a political battle. Natembeya has told you it's on. It's gaining momentum. Who do you think is going to win?
Natembeya is still young. What I can say is Natembeya is still young when it comes to politics, and people don't know him not unless he has some strategies that he has implemented. He is trying, but again, when it comes to competition between him and the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, Masika has been there and he understands politics in deep form. So definitely, Senator Speaker of the National Assembly is going to win this one. Actually, because he understands what is politics and he has been there for a long time. Natembeya is very young when it comes to this politics. He doesn't even have fibrous roots. Moses Wetangula has the deepest roots. He understands politics. I can say he has the tap root. That one is found in trees that are sprouted in Sahara regions and also the Namib and the Chalb Desert. In this term, whereby he understands politics, I mean, in the right way. Natembeya is still young. He's trying to compete with his fathers, but again, in the wrong way. Yeah.
I get you, Bonnie. I get you. There's a video I just want you to watch here. Then I'll get to know your comments on it. Okay, I got it. It's okay. I have it with me.
Kama ni nani ukitaka kusema nonsense, kusema no, bora tu mnakataa. Ama namna gani? Haya tufunge. Funga. Haya njaa. Umaskini. Ukabila. ukabila, siasa ya makubili, siasa ya makubili, koti Kenya, koti Kenya, wetangula, wetangula. Muko jonja, muko sawa, muko sawa. Sasa tangazo ya mwisho.
Oh yeah, you've just that is what is happening. Eh? I understand you say that Wetangula is experienced. Actually, he been in this game for long. Wetangula did not start his politics today, and there is some spot that he has over specifically when you talk of the Bukusu voters in Bungoma. There's how these people listens to him ever since he managed to eliminate was he Muskari Combo in the Bungoma politics. It's been power Roma. So if you oppose Wetangula, then you're likely not to make it. Actually, there is a certain youthful MP who also hailed from Bungoma. There is a Kimilili MP, Didinas Baraza, though I don't know where he went to. Somebody can confirm if he's still there. He also he wanted to become, I think, the next governor. So I don't know why. Nowadays, Haskiki, I don't know if he's still there. I rarely hear about him. So these are some of the people that we are having from Bungoma. And remember, when you talk of Bungoma and Trans Nzoia, they are different counties. But majority of the lawyers in Trans Nzoia are Bukusu, just as majority of the lawyers in Bungoma are Bukusu. That is the close relationship that is normally there between the Trans Nzoia and the Bungoma. Though Trans Nzoia is a metropolitan, in Trans Nzoia we are having ODM MPs, we are having UDA, we are having the other party, the party for Natembeya, or the party for Eugene Wamalia. And in Trans Nzoia, we're also having people from different communities. We have Luos there, we have Kalenjins. It's a cosmopolitan county. So, okay, when you look at Natembeya also, Natembeya is also not a lighter weight, though he joined politics for the first time, but this is somebody who's been administrator. You know how fierce he was, and that one explained to you how he even became a commissioner or a commandant, or all those ranks that he had. So just like Gachagua, yeah, Gachagua was also not in politics, but you saw how he came. So Natembeya is somebody who cannot be underrated. If it comes to goons, you can't deal with him with goons, because those are the people that he used to manage in his line of duty. Yeah? As a commandant, as a commissioner, he used to deal with the goons, to disseminate the goons. And if it gets to that kind of politics, I think you can't manage him. I agree with the Goodia, who is saying that Natembeya is a straight shocker, and that's why I wanted to give you a certain video here. He's somebody who is determined. I don't know his end game, but he's having some political determination. There is something that he's aiming at. Listen to him.
Sisi wote watu ya Western Kenya, kuanzia Nyanza mpaka hapa Western Province, Nyanza, sisi wote tuko busy. Tumejaribu mzee Raila, tumesukumana na yeye, tumesukuma. Kweli ama uongo? Tumesukuma, sisi ni shida na kwanga hata sisi. China potanga namna gani kama hata tujui. Sasa vile imetoka kwa Mkikuyu, imeenda kwa Mkale, tumejaribu Mjaluo, sasa haiwezi ruka sisi. Sawa. Wacha tu tukue fair. Jamii ya Mkikuyu, ya Mluya, ya Mkalenjin, ya Mjaluo, ya Mkamba, those are the big communities, ndio? Watatu wameruka kaenda kuchukua nafasi ya mtu ya namba 2. Hata waina aliruka kaenda nafasi ya mtu wa pili. Nataka kurekebisha maneno hapo. Na Wakenya wako tayari kurekebisha maneno. We are God fearing and we know an injustice when we see one. Hii ya kusema kwamba ndio walio wanakaa tu commander ya security aiwa. Nataka tukue commander in chief. Ndio? Of the armed forces, no hapana salfeyo nani. Ndio. Ama nyinyi mnafikiri sasa mtoshi? Kwanza Kenya itanyoroka itakaa hivi. wafisadi watakwisha, hakuna kuwa nafasi ya mfisadi. Mwananchi atajua maana ya kuishi katika taifa la na mwezi. Hiyo ndio sisi tunataka. So wale wenzangu wale kina Wetangula wale ndugu zetu walitangulia kule mbele, tunasema kuna kazi mmetufanyia, si ndio? Lakini mahali imefikia sasa bindu vyone. Umesema? Bindu vyone. Wetangula kana maina. Ruto mchumi. No maina ulenga lo mchumi. Mchumara kama maina. Sasa jaka raundi. Mtoto anachukua kwa. Sasa haiwezi kuwa sasa wewe alafu tena na kwa hivi. Yaani vindu vya alovi. Sio mimi nasema mambo baya nini? Mpaka saa hizi mheshimiwa Ruto alizaliwa 1966. Amepatia Wetangula kazi. Wetangula alizaliwa 1940. Kamu we kazi. Nani atakana kupatia mwingine kazi? Kweta lakini kachelewa. Maana yeye amengojea apewe. Uongozi wa taifa upewi na mtu. Bali wadi ndio alipakambe. Hakuna siku utapewa. Sisi tumesema mambo ya ngojea kupewa vitu tumefanya nini? Tumekataa. Ni kwenda kule kuuliza Wakenya wengine bwana tumefika wakati wetu tupatie kitu tuweze tuongozeko. Ama namna gani? Hapo ndio tuko.
Yes. Do you think this man is the next big thing? He's building a movement. And his ambition, he not tied himself just around the lawyer politics or the Mulembe politics. He's dreaming big. So these, Bonnie, are the kind of the movements that I was telling you that there's something that is happening. There's something that is happening in this country. The youths are waking up. The youths are now coming to take their position. The youths feel that, okay, what has been happening, they've been getting promise after each, promise after promise, promise after promise, but now they want to show that their time to lead this nation is now. So as a youth, I know I'm speaking to you as a youth, do you support this kind of movement, ama you feel like we still need to learn and follow the old guards?
Judge Natembea, the way he has spoken over there is very brave and courageous, and he seems to not be fearing anything, because the way he has spoken there is like he has some powers over him that can make him speak. But again, those are the kind of leaders that Kenyans want. Kenyans want someone who can talk without fear, someone who is vocal, and that is the only way that Kenyans are going to consider you when it comes to voting. Because this guy now is trying to talk like he has a lot of differences with Wetangula and other leaders. But again, now here is the competition. You know that Moses Wetangula was chosen by William Ruto because they joined with Musalia Mudavadi towards the end of a general election 2022. So maybe they knew that this is the winning government, winning party. Now they joined. But again, they were given those topmost positions. As being a Speaker of our National Assembly is not a job. It's not a simple task. Being a Prime Cabinet Secretary and also taking over in those functions is not a joke. So I think they were given topmost position and they are trying. But again, Natembea here now is trying to talk without even fearing. He's trying to say that it is high time now you look for position, but not be given by anyone. You look for the position by your own. It means that these two guys were given position by William Ruto because they joined. I think I love the spirit that is displayed by Natembeya.
They need to look for their own positions, eh? Geoffrey Ruto, karibu sana. Geoffrey Ruto is telling me that you do not need to underestimate Natembeya. He's headed somewhere. That is good. Yeah, if you listen to him, he's somebody who speaks as if there's something that he's seen ahead, or there's something that he's planning. He's not limiting himself to the village politics, so he's not limiting himself to the regional politics, but he's trying to expand his political sphere so that he can appear as a national figure, having realized that maybe in the next general election or after the next general election, these things are going to be there for grab. Nobody will be a veteran by then, because once Raila exists, the scene, people like Mudavadi, people like Ruto, they also have to exist at the same time. These are people who've served for the longest. These are people who are there during Moi. They were there with Kibaki. They were there with Uhuru. And now, with the exit of Ruto, they need to leave. So that tells you that the positions will be there for the grab. So Natembeya is also knows how to work the crowd and gets involved. He's not scared of saying how it is. Yeah, that is some of the things that made me the first time I saw Natembeya had his first rally. I told people, there is the governor of Trans Nzoia. And true to my word, he's a mobilizer. He's a crowd manager. He have that charisma, something that lacks in Wetangula. I don't deny the fact that Wetangula have been a leader for so long in Bungoma, but when it comes to crowd management and attracting the crowd, that one he's poor in. That one, Natembeya outsmarts him. So after this short break, I think we've really talked too much on this. So after this short break, I'll give you an opportunity maybe to give me your final thought on this new found movement by the young legislators. Just a final thought and maybe your wishes to them, or maybe your hopes, what you hope it's going to achieve. Meanwhile, I just a reminder that we also have some other programs that we normally air on this channel, one of them being Bed of Roses that we air each and every Friday. And we also have some football or some games and sports analysis that we do each and every Sunday. We call it a Dimba Afrique. So ensure that as you subscribe to Afrique 24 Hour, you also mark those dates so that you don't miss this kind of wonderful programs.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance, presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Wawero. Bed of Roses promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Afrique 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and mark your calendars. You don't want to miss this. See you there.
But what political leader can stand up and say my party is a party of principles? For the party of Kennedy is also the party of Islam. The party of Jarvis is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protest? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police officials kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
Those are some powerful remarks by John Lewis at the age of 23, urging youths that we don't need to wait for freedom, but we should demand our freedom now. I believe that this is the call that the ground team or the newly found movement between the young legislators that comes from Azimio and the Kenya KWANZA have finally decided to respond to this call, that they want that country that will grant youths their freedom. They want that country that will grant youth their economical right. They want that country that will ensure that the youths who are interns, actually we don't have old men and old women as interns, have their CBA honored, their salaries remitted, and their working condition improved. They want that country that will see students getting help and attending their lessons. They want that country that will see the young people getting treatment and getting services in the government offices. I think if that is the call that they've responded to, then they are right on the track. And I believe that history will judge them right. That one day when the history of this country is going to be written, and the history of economical liberation is going to be written, the same way we read the history of liberation, of maybe the rights and the political liberation that was written in 1991 or 1992 or the 1990s. We read of the young Turks like James Agri Orengo. We read of Martha Karua. We read of Gitobo Imanyara. We read of people like Charles Joya. So I believe that when history of economic revolution is going to be read, then these people who formed another opposition, they will find their names on specific pages. Boniface, that is the prayer that every youth is having in this country, that one of these fine days we are going to have a country that will satisfy our needs. We are going to have a country that will fulfill our dreams. And when this one will happen, there are people that will have to credit for doing that. So let us hope this is the moment that maybe we've been waiting for. And let us hope that it is not just a group that is going to end with the press conference that we saw today. I just want to get your parting shot or your final remarks on this, as we call it a day. Boniface, karibu sana.
Thank you, Mr. Leo, and I hope we get those leaders who can transform this country, because it is any person's belief that we get a leader who can transform this country and developments to be done in the right way. any leader who can make citizens feel that they are at home and the development be carried in the right way without those major factors that affecting this country. If we can fight corruption, we can fight poor leaders who are taking parts in this leadership. We can fight a lot of things that happen in this country. Then if we have a leader who can help us citizens now to believe that we have a leader who is able to make sure that every grievances of our common mwananchi they are well represented and development to be specific. Because if we have developments, we have all the ideas that are raised by common mwananchi presented over there and action taken place, then definitely the common mwananchi will always feel nice and they will always know that they have a person who can make their development to be on the right way. Because we all need development and we all need to have a comfortable environment to feature in. Because when you have toxic country whereby a lot of things are not going the right way, then definitely the lowly citizens, common mwananchi is going to suffer. Thank you so much, Leo, and I want to appreciate our followers who have been there since we started the show, and we are always here from 10 p.m. that is East African time, and towards the midnight. If you join, then you can join our studio, and you can help us by subscribing, sharing, and also liking there in our social media platforms, and also to be specific in the YouTube, you turn on that notification bell. Thank you so much, Leo, and thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Boniface. Let me welcome and thank my senior Mohammed Ege. And the correction have been noted. It's Timothy Njoya, not Charles Njoya. I get that correction. Karibu sana, Mohammed. I think you've seen today the youthful leaders have decided to form a new opposition. And Babu was specific in his word that the opposition imelegea. So now we are going to have a new opposition called Ground Team. So let me leave you with this speech from the newly elected president of Senegal, somebody who is among the youngest leaders that we are currently having in Africa, a motivation to the Bobby Wines, a motivation to Malemas, a motivation to Ndindi Nyoro, a motivation to Edwin Sifuna, and any other African young politician or young leader who is aspiring to grow and rise to the position of presidency.
It is high time for France to lift its knee off our neck and put an end to this unjust oppression. Centuries of misery, human trafficking, colonization, and neocolonization have caused immeasurable suffering. It's time to put an end to this cycle of oppression. It's high time for France to leave us alone. It's time for France to take a cue from its European neighbors and learn a valuable lesson in independence. Germany is the leading economic power in Europe, significantly surpassing France, which is ranked as the third or fourth largest economic power globally. Germany does not exploit any country, any colony. I can mention Italy, I can mention Spain, who had colonies before, but who do not exploit anyone, who do not interfere, who do not impose leaders in their former colonies. On what grounds does France believe it can continue to impose leaders on us and make choices on our behalf? This must come to an end. And the emerging Africa, the African youth, the African elites, and the African diaspora all stand united in saying no, it cannot continue any longer. France's hypocrisy is evident and pervasive in daily life. Let's examine the cases of Mali and Chad as prime examples of this hypocrisy. In Chad, where the constitutional process has been interrupted, France applauded and its president visited to officially consecrate the new king's coronation ceremony. In Mali, where it is not the constitutional process that has been interrupted, but the transition process, France has condemned and even packed up its things to say that it is leaving Mali. That's hypocrisy. It's the double standard. It is the double language that France employs in its dealings with Africa. During our questioning of Mr. Jean-Yves Le Drian regarding the situation in Ivory Coast and France's decision to allow a third term, he provided a clear explanation. He stated that while he accepted the third term for Ouattara, he refuses it for Belarus. He emphasized that France has condemned the situation in Belarus and has actively encouraged the European Union to do the same. Le Drian explains that in Belarus, millions protested, unlike Ivory Coast, where there were no mass demonstrations on the streets. This is how France deals with African issues. Personally, we expect absolutely nothing from France. We desire her to cease meddling in our matters so that the people of Senegal can exercise their freedom of choice rather than being influenced by France's selection of a candidate using the tactics we are aware of. We begin by targeting individuals, adorning them with the Legion of Honor or a similar knightly rank, enlisting them in Masonic lodges, and informing them to prepare themselves as they will be next in line. Even the hypothesis that Macky Sall may not succeed, we know who is being prepared by France. This must come to an end. It will not occur in this manner any longer. Let's be clear. We have absolutely nothing against the French people. In France, both political and citizen voices are rising to hold and express the same discourse as the one I'm currently presenting to you. For example, the deputies, such as Mrs. Frédérique Dumas, who regularly speaks on the platform of the Assembly, who regularly writes to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, since she is a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, to raise this unfair behavior of France towards Africa, hold the same speech as us. The same Mr. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, Jean-Paul Lecoq, André Chassaigne, all deputies, hold the same discourse as us, and hundreds of other voices. The NGO NGOs, like other non-profit organizations, are doing remarkable work in the same direction. We strongly urge France to listen to the voices that speak to it about our plan for a more collaborative, fairer, and sustainable partnership between Africa and France. It is crucial that we work together towards a future that is equitable, just, and environmentally conscious. If she listens, I believe we'll have beautiful days ahead in our collaboration together. If he doesn't know how to cut it, thinking he can continue to function like in the time of our grandfathers, this African youth no longer accepts it. France must make preparations for a definitive break and completely withdraw from Africa. Africa belongs to Africans, not France. She belongs to no one else, neither China, nor the United States, nor anyone else.
That's a powerful speech over there. And those are the kind of the people that we should entrust with the leadership to lead this beautiful country called Africa. We have them, but because of our systems, you'll find that this kind of people will never get an opportunity. So from my end, I just want to thank everybody, and I'm glad and I wish that the newly found movement is going, I don't want to call it a political coup, but it's going to do justice to this country. It's going to be an awakening moment for Kenyans, so that we are going to realize that our enemies are not the people who belong to a specific political party, or people who belong to a specific religion, or people who come from specific regions, but our enemy are any leader who is opposed to the things that are benefiting the country, whether they come from your tribe, they support the same political party, they pray with you in the same worship house, then these are the enemies. So I really like what I saw today when I saw leaders or members of parliament coming together, and they were not discussing their party politics, but they were discussing issues. So if we can have leaders that can think based on issues that affect the common mwananchi, then this country can be beyond where we are currently. So our enemies are not those people who are in Kenya Kwanza, because in Kenya Kwanza we have somebody like Wamuchomba who thinks and feels when citizens are not feeling well, she feels that no, people are not feeling well and things needs to be good. Your enemies are not those people that you see who are in Azimio. We have people like Babu Win, we have people like Senator Sifuna who will spend the rest of their day fighting for that which is going to benefit common Mwananchi. So the moment we realize that and start walking in that direction, I'm telling you, the politics of this country is going to change for the benefit of Kenyans, and the Kenyans stand to benefit, and we will move steps faster than we've been moving. I have to thank everybody who managed to join this talk show. Your participation on the comment section is highly appreciated. It has really kept the conversation moving. Thank you so much and welcome again, Mohammed Ege. You're saying good riddance may be it. Inspire women. It's awakening time for African young Turks. Young people in the West Africa have led the way. If they can do it, Kenyan young people can do it even better. That is true. Now, we've always associated these West African countries with chaos and coups and such kind of things. So what we've seen, most of these Western African countries have realized the potential they have, and they've realized that even these Western puppets or these foreigners are really misusing them, and they've really woken up. Look at that young general who took over young general overlay. Look at what has just happened in Senegal. So that one tells you that Kenya can do it better, because in Kenya, actually, we got civilized long time ago. We've been peaceful. Our education system is fine. So what stops us from doing what we see happening in the Western parts of Africa? Good year. Thank you so much and welcome again. It was good having you in this show. Godfrey Ruto, of course, your contribution is highly appreciated. I saw Esther Stahl there. Thank you so much and welcome again when we'll be having this kind of conversation. Costa, welcome. Karibu tena. The show is always there so that we can be able to engage and try to chart a way forward for Kenyans. Joel Mainga, karibu sana. We really enjoyed your contribution. William Rono, your contribution on the comment section is really appreciated. Tatu Juma, of course, I did see you there. Dennis Nderitu, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlight, Norman Nganga, Ruth Apondi, Esther Mbatia, who is this Uranga Sports Club. Karibuni sana. Let us meet tomorrow, same time, same place. And as you prepare maybe to travel for your Easter holiday, to enjoy your Easter, kindly take good care of you, be safe, use the roads well, and ensure that you take good care of yourself and your family. Yes, Inspire Women, thank you so much for reminding me of Ibrahim Traore. That is a wonderful movement. Africa is waking up, and the moment African will wake up, the giant in it, I'm telling you, we are going to become a threat to the West and to the East. They only utilize us because they know we are still sleeping. We've never realized the giant in us. So, guys, I just want to wish you a good night, happy holidays, and Ramadan Kareem to my Muslim brothers and sisters. I'm sorry, I have to give somebody a chance here just to say a word. It would be unfair to lock him out. So, Honorable Vincent, sorry, I know you are having some busy day engaged, and maybe I know it's raining currently in Nairobi, and there is a lot of floods and people drowning. So, if I fail to see somebody from Nairobi, it might be you are busy with the bucket or a basin trying to unclog the sewer lines and the drainage system. So it's good you've joined. We've discussed a lot. I just want to get your opening and maybe closing remarks if you so wish to. The main thing we are looking at, we've seen a new political outfit. Actually, it is not a political party, but is I can call it a movement, the new opposition that is led by Babu Owino and the Wamuchombas. So what is your take on that as a youth? Do you think we're moving in the right direction? Or these people are out kuharibia William Ruto?
Yes, Leo, habari yako bwana.
Zuri sana.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed this great interview. I knew today you'll have this topic. That's why nimeng'ang'ana sana so that I try and get some minutes so that I can say something before you guys end this podcast. but
All
I'll
right.
make sure I join next time so that I can engage you more about it. But to our viewers, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. And I welcome you and also thank you for joining this engagement that we always have at night. To the topic of the day, I think I told you here before, Leo, that I want to see people coming up and coming out and standing up against Raila Odinga and trying to do what Ruto did to Moi in 2002, 2005. I expected that to happen, but I didn't anticipate a team like the team I saw today. No, not because the team is less competent, but the team you saw today is not the the real face of what I can call the youth movement that can challenge the president.
Mm-hmm.
The team you saw today, I regard the team as okay. They are not experienced, not really experienced. They are inexperienced, and they might find some fallout in the future
How do
because I
you
feel like
maybe how do you gauge
you,
their level of experience? We are having MPs like Caleb Amisi is serving his second term. That I tried to 10 years. We are having
you
Babu Wino
know
serving a term. We are having Gadoni Wamuchomba. You know, this is somebody who was in the media and interacted with people from the least level, and he's now serving another a term, second term, if I'm not wrong. Aren't these people not experienced enough to give a challenge to a ruling government?
running opposition is even difficult than running the government because we've all seen the opposition when Raila has been the opposition leader. It has been organized. They have started, let me say, they have started their opposition way in a wrong foot, and they have started it with a very wrong, let me call it ile jina mnaitanga nickname. No, wameanza na jina mbaya, the Wanjiku, whatever. We've heard that name forever, and that is the narrative that William Ruto used to go to power, and the Kenyans are tired with. They are tired of those kind of words that we resonate well with those people who are poor and those people who are down there in the pyramid. But that does not change the fact that what they've done today, what they've done today is magnanimous. Let me call it magnanimous and a very, very bold step that I believe if they keep on doing the same going forward, it's going to be a very serious. Let me call it a very, very serious. How can I say? Team in a rise in a good pace. Now watakuja kuleta challenge kubwa sana. They will bring a very big challenge in the political scene if they keep themselves organized. Mimi bottom line yangu ni organized. I know Wamshomba well. Wamshomba will always run to the side that is winning. Wamshomba will never want to be in the side that is losing. I'm telling you this today. William Ruto is going to be president, and Mount Kenya is going to vote for William Ruto in 2027.
If you
And
look
if
at
Wamshomba,
this, Vincent, maybe just to take you back, there are some happenings that happened in the country. I know we were too young, or some of us had not been born in 1991, 1992 during the multi-party fight, such kind of things. Most of the people that are believed to have fueled this kind of opposition, yes, there was opposition of people like Jaramogi, people like Kibaki were there. We had people like Ken Matiba, but they got oiled by the then young thugs of the student leaders and people like James Orengo, people like Martha Karua, people like Gitobu Imanyara, until finally they managed to push Moi to the wall, and Moi allowed the repeal of the Section 2A of the Kenyan Constitution. And those were guys of which some of them were not even members of parliament, save for people like James Orengo who are serving their first term in that parliament. But here we are talking of members of parliament, people who've been in parliament for more than 10 years.
people we cannot trust. Let me tell you why we cannot trust these people. It's because when you're making a move the way they made it today, and they've started by threatening the government, and we all know sometimes when you try to poke your finger into a bee's because a bee's nest, beehive, unajua ile kitu itakufanyia. These guys have started well, but I disagree with the team. First of all, the team that they composed. That team, to me, does not represent the face of us, the youth, because if you can, we can start by kuwachambua vile wameoperate for the past 1 year. I can tell you for free, skipping voting in parliament when they are needed most is one way of showing us that they are not loyal to what they are representing. Number two, a person like Babu Wino, we know he was convicted. I don't know if the case will continue.
No, he wasn't
in the
convicted.
Future.
He wasn't convicted.
He was acquitted.
He was acquitted.
So if he was acquitted, and we know how these cases go, and we remember how he was acquitted, and we remember what was going on that time, and Raila was Uhuru's buddy. DCI was in the pocket of
no, he got acquitted under the Ruto's regime.
Yeah, but you know how the case went during Uhuru's regime. That's when the case, even the witnesses were bribed. That's the time when everything was done. So even when he was being acquitted, Ruto could not have done anything because that's not his also that yes, your office yake. Yeah, aliacha sheria ichukue mkondo wake. But you know, whenever you start raising your head above the ground, people will try to bury you, and that's one way Babu Wino is going to be buried. And I tell you, the people who are going to bury Babu Wino are not in Ruto's government. They are in the ODM party. Those are the people who are going to make sure that Babu Wino never rises. That's why you saw around 7 members in that team, and from those 7 members, I think only 5 were from ODM and 1 was from UDA. I don't know where the other one was from. Those guys.
And those other guys are from Jubilee. That is the Sarai MP and
yeah.
MP.
So ODM had only 4.
And Mwago, yeah.
So ODM had around 3 or 4. So you can see that the ODM party does not approve. Okay, Babu Wino has done something that I wanted him to do. I have always wanted someone to rise and show Baba that we can take over when you are alive. And I want Babu Wino to try and speak to the Luos, because the Luos are the people who will give him the power. And he has to do it boldly. Na itamkalia ngumu kidogo. I know it's not a walk in the park.
And he said he's representing the youth, so he doesn't want to come. All those guys who spoke there, nobody is coming with a tribal background, because that is what has been happening in this country, and they've realized that when you come with that, then you can achieve nothing. So Babu is coming there to represent the youth.
There's nobody like youth in this country. The only youth we know is those who are at Chira's burial today. Those are the youth that we know. But those youth that Babu Wino are talking about are nowhere to be seen. And I will tell you for free, there are no youths in this country who are going to vote in 2027. Youth votes are less than, let me say, 1 million. Sometimes even 1 million is too much for the youth. Most of the youths care less about who becomes what. They only care about their stomachs and being goons and being hired that day of the election to do chaos and to cause mayhem. The people who will resonate with their narrative are those people that are at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, youths, not only the youths are at the bottom of the pyramid. Babu Wino wants to use youths in a revolutionary manner, not in checking the government, in trying to come up. Like anajaribu kukua, no how YK92 was made. That's what they are trying to do, but they are trying to do it to build themselves so that they can make that name that we see appear to Metosha kwa presidents. No. What they are failing to understand is that when you want to become president, there are things that you must keenly take into place. Have you seen what Ndindi Nyoro is doing? Rigathi Gachagua is already scared. I'm not saying that Rigathi Gachagua is scared of Ndindi Nyoro, but you can see what Ndindi Nyoro is doing, and he's gaining a lot of support from, and the MPs are embracing it. They are taking him to their constituencies to be the guest of honor. He's going there and doing the campaigns. You can hear from the speeches that he's giving. No, anapanga kwanza nawaambia mambo ya uchumi, anapanga, anawaambia yeye kama chairman wa budget, anakuja anaingia siasa kidogo, anajaribu kuongea ile lugha ya mama ile huko mahali ameenda. So that way he is learning from what Raila was doing in 2007, 2013, and William Ruto was doing that in the campaigns in 2021, 2022. Exactly, that's what Ndini Nyoro is doing. But what Babu Owino and his team are trying to do is to create a movement that I'm sure without financial resources, without support of those people that we call the cartels and those people high above the food chain, wale wakubwa wao, especially for example, we use Raila Odinga. Your Raila Odinga is well fueled pocket wise and he has masses. If he decides to call for something tomorrow, he doesn't have to mobilize using money. But Babu Owino will have to use money to try and show that I have people. I'm sure I teach a maandamano kesho. I don't expect that the same thing that we saw in 2023 happening. By the day like this last year, tomorrow there were maandamano. A day like this tomorrow last year there was maandamano in Kenya. So I don't expect Babu Owino, those walikuwa wanafanya ile kitu tunaitanga testing waters. Walikuwa wanajaribu kuona how will people receive what we've done, and I'm sure if they keep on trying to do that and they also try and recruit as many people, hivi tunaitanga perception. You know, when you create a perception that you have people supporting you, the same way Ndini Nyoro is doing. Ndini Nyoro is even scaring Rigathi because the MPs are embracing him more than they are embracing Rigathi. Because Rigiji is the person who is supposed to be contributing in such kind of events. He is the person who is supposed to be attending church functions to contribute on behalf of the president and on behalf of Rigathi Gachagua. And as a person who is ready to take over from Ruto in 2032, but Rigathi Gachagua is not doing the same. So Ndini Nyoro is trying to do that, and he is contributing much money. And you know how that money buys the hearts of people. You know, it will become easy for him to say, mimi nilikuja hapa Kisii, he was here over the weekend. Nilikuja hapa Kisii, nikawachangia, mkajenga kanisa. You see, I came here, I supported your boda guys when I was the MP. Na sasa mkinipatia hii kiti, like no, that's how you do it. So Babu Owino and team, they have not, maybe let me say, they have not understood the political landscape of this country.
No, what I'm realizing is that Kenyans are now changing. They've realized that this issue of voting people because they came and kujenga kanisa is not paying off. So people now want
no.
With the real.
Let me tell you why you cannot ignore that. You cannot ignore that, and you know the people who vote are those people who are in the village, and the people who go to church are in the village. See that? The people who vote are in the village, and the people who go to church are in the village. The people, mimi for example, my ID yangu imeandikwa Nyaribari Chache, Kiumbu sublocation, where I vote is Kioke Primary School. It's miles away from here. If, for example, the elections were to be held tomorrow, even if I were to start traveling today, nitafika maybe sahi nitafika kesho saa 3, you see, and I won't go to vote directly. I go to sleep, I maybe forget and time runs out. But my mom in the village will be maybe the one of the agents, will be supervising, will be in the with the supervisor, ama atapata ile kiti ako tu hapo kwa kijiji, she will vote, my dad will vote, and they are the people who are leading our church. Especially my dad is the chairman of our church. My mom is the treasurer of the whole parish. Ya wale tunaitanga mama kwa mama. Yeye ndio treasurer. So at the moment William Ruto, for example, comes and contributes to their activities and tries to support and uplift them the same way what Rachel is doing to this joyful mama. You see that? The same way she's trying to get into the vegetable banking stuff into the villages, and the people are doing it, by the way, in our village. For example, I see those people trying to come up with projects. They are creating decos. Hizo machama za kina mama huko Koshago. So you cannot ignore the fact that those small activities that Ndini Nyoro is doing in the villages and contributing, that ile inaitanga kuuza jina. You know, Babu Owino is known by who? Babu Owino is known by us, as the youth, and those people who are very, very much into politics. And see what not all the youths are into politics. Nowadays, TikTok has taken over the minds of youths. So they don't even care. Even Salasi is popular right now more than even the Babu Owino, I can tell you, in the minds of youths, because he's doing what the youths are enjoying seeing nowadays. The youths want someone who is funny. They want someone who can joke, who can drink and still don't care. You see? Those are the kind of things that we, the youth, are caring about nowadays. We don't even care about who becomes what. So if you want to start a movement, you have to look for people who are into
So
politics
as a
the
youth,
same way I am.
you've already said that nowadays youth care about seeing those TikTok, and do you think that is the right direction? That youth who want some transformation in their country, in their society, so that they can become the Traores of tomorrow, is that on the
You
right way?
know, there will be always the Traores because the likes of me, who wants to be president of Kenya one day, we are
Mhm.
focused on making sure that we help as many youths as possible to realize that you cannot ignore politics, whatever you do. You can never ignore politics in whatever activity you are thinking of doing, even if you want to do it secretly. The only thing you can evade is tax, but you cannot evade buying products at a higher price. You cannot evade using public transport because those are touched by the politics of the day. That's the job of those few of us who focus on the political activities. If you can see nowadays on Twitter, things that trend are silly things. You see, not the way it used to be that during the Wakenya sana sana vijana huamka time ya siasa maybe a year to the political activities, especially in 2026 hapo when they will start getting hired, they start taking sides. I wear yellow shirt, you wear your orange shirt, someone wears a blue shirt. That's the time now we start seeing the youth because they are being used as tools of perception and creating that image that I have numbers and I have people at the ground waiting for me. Unapata vijana ndio wananunuliwa pombe ndio wapige kelele, wapigie opponent wako kelele. Those are the kind of things that we see towards election. But right now I can tell you, if Babu Wino tries to call for maandamano, what will be the excuse? Tuende tugomee madaktari? I won't because I am a teacher and maybe I'm required to be marking my exams right now, mini kijana. And maybe if they want us to protest on behalf of the doctors, the doctors are already doing their job in an orderly manner. Nobody's disturbing them. They are not being tear gassed. But the moment you bring the youth in, the hired crowd, you are going to cause problems to the doctors. Even if they were to get help, it's going to be very, very difficult for the government to even sit down and listen to them. So, to tell you that the politics has really, really shifted from what we knew in 2000s and what it is now.
I get you. I get you. Geoffrey Ruto is telling you that Babu is a very good leader. He had a very bright future politically until he shot the DJ. I think to navigate. Geoffrey Ruto, if you come from Africa, and the Honorable Vincent will tell you that the people who are elected are the people who are having dark history. Sometime back in 2013, 2012, when people are campaigning for the 2013 elections, people will tell you how William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta were not going to even make it to the ballot because of the case that they had. They were charged with criminals. They were charged with crimes against humanity. And people will even tell you, how do you call him? I saw him today. Is a YouTuber, Cyrus Jirongo, how William Ruto, I don't know, killed somebody during their time in Young Kenyans for Kanu or something, YK92. So there's something that maybe it can only work against you when you are in developed countries like in Europe,
America,
where you get bad. But in Africa, I think this one, most people, like I had a joke in my village. Somebody had some cases in court, and he was bragging that, you see, now niko na kesi kama tatu, so now I can become a politician, because for you to be a politician lazima ukuwe na kesi mingi. And for sure, can you mention me any politician in Kenya who doesn't have a case in court? I think it's really hard. You'll have to think and think. None of them.
and by the way, Leo,
Yes.
you know that case. I told you the only people who will want to bring Babu down is the people in his own party, because I can feel it. I can feel it from when you look at Babu Wino's body language. You can feel like he's doing something against what the other party members want to do. Like he's trying to do it on his own. He doesn't care whether anybody wants to be a part of it or not. and the only people who will try to bring him down are the people in his own party. And they will do it because of the rivalry, trying to take over the throne. And for example, if I can give you an example, if Joho wants to either, if for example, the polls were to be done today and Babuino leads against Joho, what Joho will try to do is to try and create that bad image to those people. You know, the time Babuino was doing that crime, most of us were not even, we were not mature. We had some of us had walikuwa na hizi simu zenye you can access these internet and videos easily. That was around 20 something, or 2018, 19, is it 2020 time of COVID? I don't know that time. Most of the people weren't the phones weren't this easy to acquire the way they are nowadays. So those people who never saw that video, you know, that video disappeared. So that's the time now you try to introduce that video and hire so many bloggers and influencers to try and smear bad picture on Babu, to try and decampaign him so that when they do the next polls, the ranking of Joho rises a bit to a good number. So that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, the only people who will try to bring Babuino down using the crimes he committed are the people in his own party. William Ruto does not care about any challenger who is rising right now, because if another challenger comes, it will become easy for him to divide the votes, because Babuino will try to challenge maybe Kalonzo, and Wajakoya will try to now show that the Kenyans voted for him so well, but they didn't give him enough numbers. The numbers will keep being divided until William Ruto will only find a walkover. Let me use a walkover as a word.
But Babuino is not running for presidency in 2027. That one is not part of his
you
plan.
you don't say you're running. The people will lie to him. The people will force him to do that.
No.
That's what will
Like
happen, because
even what people,
I'm sure the person who is going to run for governor in 2027 is Wanyonyi, and Wanyonyi with Wanyonyi versus Sakaja, the third candidate will get nothing. The third candidate will get nothing. Even if the polls were done the other day and you saw Babuino leading, those are not the people who are going to vote in Nairobi. I'll tell you, those people will not be in Nairobi in 2027 to vote. You see, Babuino led in the polls. The people who vote in Nairobi are not the youth, and I can tell you, the people who vote in Nairobi are not the youth, and the youth will be the problem. They will lie to Babuino that sasa umetosha mboga, rise to presidency, enda president mara moja. And the moment Babuino will make that mistake in 2027, he will be forced to run again in 2032, whether he loses or gets. And the moment he loses in 2027 and loses again in 2032, he'll have to be forced to wait until 2042 so that he can go again and lose. See? Because that miscalculation that they have done today is going to be one of the reasons why Babuino has to allow himself to be told the truth. Asikubali kudanganywa. He should listen to the people who understand politics. 2027, let him maybe maintain the politics, the member of parliament for Embakasi East, so that he keeps that momentum. The moment unaingia kwa county politics, you are devolving your mind. You are devolving your mind into one place. Babuino cannot come to Luo Nyanza and try to tell people in Luo Nyanza anything when you are governor of Nairobi, because the people of Luo Nyanza have their governor. You cannot try to start politicking in Nyanza or in Kisii or in Nyamira. But when he is MP, he can go anywhere in this country and do anything. So
I get you, Honorable Vincent, but the question I want to ask you, okay, I know Wanyonyi wanted to become a governor, and there's one thing that I don't know if you people have ever thought of. You are having Wanyonyi as a governor, and you are having Wanyonyi as a governor in ODM, and you are having Sifuna as a senator again in ODM. Who will do that? Unless you have, I'm asking, unless you want to have to front Wanyonyi as a governor with ODM, at the same time front Sifuna as a senator.
You know, one thing I will tell you.
I think you get you get why I'm asking you that. I want to have
Yeah, I
Wanyonyi
understand.
and
And
Sifuna.
you know, if Raila is
Unless
still
you are telling me
running,
that Sifuna will have to sacrifice his seat.
no, he will not. You know, sometimes it will force one of them to leave the party so that they can run on a different party. You can
That's the
run on
question
a
that I'm
different
asking
party.
you. You cannot have Wanyonyi. Sifuna is the Secretary General. He is not planning to. You cannot have Wanyonyi and Sifuna both contesting Nairobi. So there is the only thing that they can do. Wanyonyi can easily. Wanyonyi and number one, Wanyonyi can easily win Bungoma and Nairobi. If he wants, he can use the influence of his brother in Bungoma to win Bungoma. He can also win Nairobi. That is true. Babu Owino can also win Nairobi if maybe he gets enough support, and Babu Owino can also win Kisumu. And Anyang' Nyong'o is also retiring. So that's the story that we will discuss one of these fine days. But what I know that cannot happen, I can't have Wanyonyi as a governor and have Sifuna as a senator. That one mean, number one, the Wiper or the Kamba, who are also major voters in Nairobi, will have to protest. And the Gikuyu Azimio supporters will also have to protest that.
But right now we have Sakaja Luya, we have Mushiri Kikuyu, we have
No,
Sifuna
forget about
Aluya.
the deputy governors doesn't count. We are having Sakaja, Aluya, and we are having, yes, Sifuna is a different party. Do you know why Sakaja managed to get it?
Yeah, tell
Do you
me.
know what? Do you know the mistake? Do you know had ODM had Wanyonyi, then a different person as a senator, that person would have been a governor.
Sure. I agree.
Sakaja won most of the votes. Not that he had the Kenya Kwanza votes, he had the lawyer
But he
votes.
also,
The people who
Sakaja.
believe that's a fact. Ever since, even if you look at the mayor that we've been having in Nairobi, whenever you have a lawyer and maybe a lawyer, something like that, it's normally easy. And when you have a Kamba that is supported by this kind of guys, so Sakaja took an advantage. There was no way this guy was going to beat Sakaja. Sakaja beat him on the tribal votes. And on the other end, he took the party, the Kenya Kwanza, who did not vote him as a lawyer, but they voted him as a member of UDA. While in this side, the Azimio members who are lawyers voted Sakaya, not because they voted Sakaja because he was a lawyer. So had Azimio had Wanyonyi, then very early in the morning, Sakaja would have been sent home. So we
That's
will
what I'm
one day
telling you.
look into that.
Yeah, if they dare to,
The stress
if
that
they,
Wanyonyi should be having currently is not Babu Owino, and he knows that. The stress, Babu Owino is somebody, obviously, they contested in Westlands, and Babu Owino was told to step down before he came to replace John Ogutu in Embakasi East.
in Embakasi, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the headache that right now Wanyonyi is having is Edwin Sifuna. And the headache that Sifuna is having, if he wants to defend his senatorial seat, is Wanyonyi contesting. They both come from
But I will
Bungoma.
advise,
For information.
if I were Sifuna, if I were Edwin Sifuna,
Yes.
if I were Edwin Sifuna, I'll keep on being the Secretary General for ODM and then maintain the Senate seat. Sifuna is perfect
He will
in that
maintain
position.
that one obvious. Then if he maintains the Senate seat, what happens to
2032.
Wanyonyi? What happens to Wanyonyi?
Wanyonyi is still a member of parliament for
Westland. That one he can win even
Westlands.
yeah.
Yeah, and if this brotherhood between him and Wetangula that is also becoming a problem in Western right now. Also, they can. I know we all have ambitions and we have dreams.
Yeah.
Sometimes when William Ruto sits you down to talk and talks to you as a brother and as a young man, he can talk sense to you, and Raila Odinga can also talk sense to you, so that they can craft a very, very formidable team, and agree that if they were to let Sakaja finish the second term, this planning for 2032, they are not planning for 2027, because it will be easier for Sakaja to also maintain the seat for Nairobi if William Ruto intervened and tried to do some, how these people, you crush someone so that someone can maintain the seat. You see, the same way you saw what happened in Nyeri. Hey, there are a lot of things that happened, and now we have one governor who served 2 terms without having any problems. So such kind of things are the things that will happen in Nairobi, because Babu Wino can be promised maybe in 2032 if
No. My
what
advice to Babu: if you want to become a president in Kenya, don't dare contest for governorship in Nairobi.
governor, I told you that. Don't
No, in
dare go
any
to
place you can contest, but in Nairobi it will soil you. Nairobi is dirty.
it will, yeah.
Once you
No,
become a
not
governor in
even
Nairobi, Nairobi is
not even
dirty.
Nairobi alone. Not Nairobi alone. Even Nakuru can trash you. Nakuru is one place also can trash you. You can go to even Kisii. Kisii is one of the counties that once you're done with the 10 years, it also becomes a problem to rise. You see how Ongwae disappeared. Ongwae was very powerful.
No,
Ongwae
why are not
disappeared.
people who are not determined to become presidents? What I know in Nairobi,
Yeah, they weren't determined, but
expectations are high.
Yeah. But Nairobi is a cartel place. The moment you rise to that position of power, your career diminishes like to thin hair, like
Vincent, let us
nothing.
get time tomorrow or one of these fine days. I think we'll have to deliberate on that. For now, let me
Okay.
wish you a good night and thank you for showing up. At least we've been here. We've added some 30
30
constructive
minutes.
minutes, which is really good. I do appreciate. So to the viewers, that was the discussion that we had. See you next time, same place. You have a good night.
Yeah, sure.
Usitokum kora chako kan gimora wero rais. Jatelo tich neni chako kapodi tin tinga mariek. Itiyo matek tinga mang'won. Ikonyo jo Kenya. Ikela mani. Iriwo jo Kenya. Madaraka wayiego. Jo Kenya wacho niya. Uhuru tosa. Uhuru ini rais. Uhuru ini rais. Kenyatta ini kiongozi. Kenyatta ini kiongozi mochweyo. Kenya inaendelezwa na wazalendo. Kenya inaendelezwa na wazalendo. Rais Uhuru ker mar Kenya, Uhuru ker mar Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta sirikal tiyo kod Uhuru. Maendeleo wan go jo Kenya, SGR donjo Kisumu dala, KP eto miyane no yidhi kod meli Kisumo. Bypass wan go Katok, flyover wan go Kondele, moro bende wan go Badani. Barabara safi secha dek wan Nairobi buore. Jokanyana mukawona weri ker mama e Kenya. Kigoto Uhuru Kenyatta, rais wetu mpendwa. Tangu uongozi wako tumeona mazao, viwanda zinajengwa, chakula kwa taifa, nyumba na makao kwa bei nafuu, stima tunapata. Ndio maana sisi twaomba Mungu akulinde, Nyasaye akulinde, Ngai akulinde, Obongo Nyakalaga akulinde. Ae Kenya inaendelezwa na wazalendo. Kenya inaendelezwa na wazalendo. Nyakalaga yeigwedhe Kenya mangima. Oganda ma e Kenya wan te wadoko joka ng'ato. Kar kelo tulo we wamed gero thurwaka. Jokabila duto wanowete koda nyimine. To nyithindwa be watero somo gi kinda. Donge magi e jotelo mabiro tayo piny bang'e. Omiyo kuom mano Kenya duto fwayo rengo. Ranyisi makende mar kwe piny mangima. Jodongi na vituo vya afya vinajengwa kote kote nchini Kenya. Chekechea wanapata elimu ya bure kwa watoto.
President wetu mpendwa, tunakupenda sana. Unafanya kazi nzuri kujenga taifa letu la Kenya. Yes, Igwe. Malo 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 malo. Malo malo Kenya yetu malo malo. Walimu malo, madaktari malo, wanamuziki malo, wakulima malo, wanajeshi malo, mapolisi wetu malo. Malo malo Kenya yetu malo malo.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for our captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance, presented by the dynamic trio Maginyox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru, Bed of Roses. Promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters in love. Are you single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story? This is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented host. Tune into Africa 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Let us guide you through the enchanting world of bed.
Umefika tangu Kenya iwe huru, mwaka wa 60 umefika tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko jamhuri, eko jamhuri, sote eko jamhuri, Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko jamhuri, sote eko jamhuri, eko jamhuri, Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Mbio Kenya yaenda mbele, waelimu twaenda mbele, majengamuni twaenda mbele, viwandani twaenda mbele, na mashambani twaenda mbele. Tunajivunia Kenya nchi yetu, kweli yapendeza, kweli yavutia. Tunajivunia Kenya nchi yetu, kweli yapendeza, kweli yavutia. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Ziwa la Victoria linaunganisha Kenya na Uganda, Kenya na Tanzania. Vita Mombasa, vitoa bahari, ugelea maji, jua tamu kuota. Nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda. Kenya, taifa
baba kamtoa wapi?
Asante Rukia, maridadi. Na vile hatuwezi tukamsahau hapa basi bila shaka pale mzee Ojwanga kwenye kipindi Vitimbi. Mzee Ojwang ishi na Mungu na akamuweke pahali pema peponi. Ala, baadaye hapo bishi ndipo kuweza kuchomoka kipindi cha Vionja Mahakamani. Shasha
Makwa, leo ni siku ya Jamhuri bwana, national holiday. Alafu navaa nguo ni kama imetoka kwa mdomo ya ng'ombe. Kujana. Wewe uone mimi ni Mkenya bwana. Uone nimevaa mpaka tai ya Kenya. I'm more than patriotic than you. Ninakubali my brother. What do you mean? Happy Jamhuri Day. Kabisa mzuri bwana.
Asanta Makoha. Na umetukumbusha marehemu Papa Chirandra. Kwanza Papa Chirandra, Mungu bishi na akamweke pahali pema peponi. Ingawaja alituachia mjane wake Will Berada.
Mtukufu Rais, kama vile umesikia, mimi ni mjane, niko single, niko vacant, yani sina mtu. Mtukufu Rais, uko na marafiki zako ambao wako single kama mimi, hata kwa cabinet uko nao. Mtukufu Rais, unikumbuke Baba, unapowazuru wengine, naomba unikumbuke.
Barabara. Na hapo hatimaye bishi ndipo kuweza kukuingilia kipindi ambacho kinajulikana kama vile Mother in Law. Na kwa hichi kipindi tunakuja kupata madam fulani ambaye anakuaga mkali zaidi, ikafanya hadi watu wakamuita dictator.
No. I am not dictatorial. I am a disciplinarian. And by the way, I am a born again Christian.
Asanta. Huu wote bishi ni usanii, na usije ukasahau usanii ni njia moja ya vijana kujitengenezea kazi wao wenyewe na harakadhara bishi kuweza kujenga taifa. Hapo basi napo ndipo baadaye akachomoka jamaa aliye mrefu zaidi.
Mtukufu Live, nikiwa mbele yako, mimi ni Inspector Mwala, nimehudumu kikosi kwa miaka mingi, nina uzoefu wa kutosha. Ninachokuomba kwa sasa ni kuwa uniteue kama mkuu wa kitengo chako cha presidential escort. Asante sana.
Asanta Inspector mrefu zaidi. Wewe najua ni unasimamishaga ndege, unaangalia kama ziko na insurance. Asanta. Lakini all the same hapa basi akakuingilia kipindi kinachojulikana kama vile Churchill Show. Kipindi na ambacho kiliweza hapa basi kuwasaidia vijana wengi zaidi kupata riziki na kazi, ikiwemo Captain Otoyo, mtumishi na mchungaji.
I have just landed. Your Excellency the President, this is your captain speaking. My name is Captain Otoyo. Kenya is flying at 60. We are 60 years old today. What? Si tumeseeka mpaka inchi zingine sinakuja hapa kuona vile inchi mzee inakaa. But old is gold.
Asante Yesu. Asante mwana. Mutumishi. Mchungaji. Papa unichase roho niweze kumushinda shetani. Papa unichase roho niweze kumushinda shetani. Timu ya mpira ikiitwa Liverpool, nikani itaitwa Matumbo Pulu. Mwenyezi Mungu bariki rais.
Barabara. Asanta. Hatimaye basi sasa usanii ukaweza kuingia kwenye design za kisasa, ama ukipenda usanii wa kidijitali, yani social media.
Yes, mimi ndio temu wa Facebook. Mimi ndio mtu wa kwanza kuingia kwa Facebook huko kwetu Shamahoho. Na kama uamini, ulizi yako Sabu Chief ni follow.
Na hapa nchini kuna mcheza filamu mmoja amejitokeza na njia zake za kipekee, anajulikana kama vile Papa Freddy ampenda Ngamwaya.
Bonjour Président, Excellency, comme j'aime Papa Fred, minga fa business legit Nairobi na international. Nguo kemikali yangu special. Kama ngapata pesa kidogo, minga mwaya ile kemikali ndani ya pesa, tapata pesa bingi. Singalipa deni IMF, ngalipa deni World Bank. Kama pesa ngabaki, singagawana ya mzima, kila mtu 2 million. Wewe kama ngapenda idea, piga telefone yangu tufanye business legit baba.
Kenya at 60. Mwisho. Commission wa command selector, the top ranking DJ, ranking Afro makers.
Mama Kenya mama, umewaka sana, tuko 60 sasa, mama umekazana. Hai mama, hai Kenya nakupenda. Sina kupenda.
maisha yetu kuwa blessed. Mama Kenya, you're the best. Tuongozwe na mapenzi, pamoja tulie. Mama, Kenya wewe mama, uko wima, umesimama, wapendeza. Kide, umesimama.
Ewe Mungu wa hekima, utupe nguvu yoyo, tusimame wima, utupe imani, maziwa na mazao, ardhi yangamani, na nchi ya thamani yoyo, ukabila na ufisadi wewe, ubaguzi yoyo, tuishi kwa amani. Kenya wewe mama, uko wima, umesimama, wapendeza. Kidete, umesimama.
Raisi wetu twakuombea hekima, uyafanikishe maono uliona